Happy New Year, Tommie.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah. Happy. I don't know, man. Should we go with this New Year stuff? Should we not just all stick with the solstice? Just go back in time and be druids and, smoke mushrooms and lick frogs or whatever the fuck it is the druids do. Do you know? The New Year's makes me uncomfortable, but then again, birthdays make me uncomfortable too, because it's this weird thing is that, we have revolved around the sun. Yeah, well, we have, kinda. It's not like the Earth didn't exactly go to the place that it was 365 days ago. Like, we're millions and millions of miles away from where we were.
But isn't it relative to the sun? But like the whole solar system is moving, so it's not as if we're in the same place. But
yeah. But
we're in the same rotation.
People think we're in the same place. Like, no, we're not. It's like we move on like a cone rather than a circle. Yeah. Well, maybe not a cone, because then that's like an image of it's going to go in, and maybe it is going to go in. It's all going to collapse on itself. And we're all going to die. Happy New Year! Yay!
One more year till you're dead. Yeah. And of course, like it's all arbitrary, obviously. Anyway, because the Chinese have a different New Year, Jewish have a different, completely different calendar as the Islamic people. So, and I'm sure any amount of other cultures. So it's just like. Yeah. My favourite kind of conspiracy theory is that whole idea of where, there's many years in the Middle Ages that didn't actually happen, that it was just placed in by some, emperor or some pope in order to, align with a certain clock. So there's like 300 years that don't actually exist.
Yeah. Wasn't there a thing? I remember my primary school, one of my primary school teachers saying this to me. They went to bed on the 10th of October, and when they woke up it was the 18th, because they had to skip 8 days to get the calendar right.
Yeah, it's like, I think that, but this one's even better. It's like 300 years. Imagine you woke up and it's like 24, 21.
You couldn't do that now in the digital age, because everyone's records would be fucked.
Well, I mean, you could do it if you tell people you're doing it. You couldn't.
I don't know, man. You see the freak out people had in year 2000, and planes are going to fall out of the sky.
Well, you see, I suppose in one sense the reason people did freak out is because everyone on the news said planes were going to fall out of the sky.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. In fairness, yeah. Damn you, news. Is the mad that like people still haven't kind of realised that like the news doesn't always give us the actual truth. It's just trying to get a reaction.
Yeah, it's and like it's particularly when it's, I suppose, official. Like when you think of something like the BBC and you go, well, they have to be impartial. It's the BBC. Yeah, they're not impartial remotely at all.
Like the most unimpartial of all of them, but they have this great reputation. Yeah. I think it's mostly because of David Attenborough, and you think you can trust him. But as soon as he's dead, everyone's going to realise, oh shit, they're lying to us all the time.
Yeah. But what do you do instead? Do you go to Reddit? Do you go to the YouTubes? You see what happens when you do that? Like, I mean, it's
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if there is an instead. Well, I mean, they used to tell us in college when we were studying, it's like, just don't buy the same newspaper every day, and to mix it up. Do a left one day, a right one another day, and do a middle one then some other day. But like, I don't know if there are any middle newspapers really. I think probably the closest that I know of would be the Irish Times. Right. And like, that's not popular. You know what I mean?
No, and it was always the one if I was going to buy a newspaper, particularly the Sunday Times. But then you kind of realise that it's just half of it's just the British Times. It's not
the Sunday Times is English. The Sunday Times isn't owned by the Irish Times, but it is sold in. It's just because they have left and right commentators, journalists. But sure, look, it's the whole thing with journalists. People kind of have this weird thing with journalists that like, sure, he knows what he's talking about. No. He's able to write. He's able to write well. He can put words in nice orders and make you react to it.
And not only that, you have that kind of, if he's knowledgeable in one area, we've talked about this before, obviously then it kind of appears that he is knowledgeable in other areas. So you have someone like Jeremy Clarkson who knows about cards, and then he writes a column about some sort of social thing, and you go, Jeremy Clarkson, you don't know anything about social stuff. But yes, he has this kind of, while he knows so much about cards, so obviously he's a learned man, whatever. Jeremy Clarkson's a terrible example of that, because I'm sure, well, maybe people do take him seriously, but he is more of a kind of a pastiche of himself at this point, isn't he?
I mean, he's a decent writer. He's able to put words together. He can put words together in a sentence and you can enjoy reading them. But like, I mean, he's no more. His argument isn't any more valid than your neighbour. That's all it is. Like, and I don't know. Maybe more people are coming around to it. I don't know. I always have this thing with my dad about this. because he just watches so much fucking news, and I've been trying to drum into his head for years, like, you'll be so much happier. Your life will be so much better if you just step away from it for a while, you know? Like, even the other day when I went up and met me mates, and up the road, and they were like, I haven't seen him in a while because of what's going on and whatnot, and plus I've moved down the country a bit, and we just went around the table and none of us watched the news anymore, none of us, and we're all like fairly decently educated lads who know what's going on in the world, or we think we do anyway, and like, it's just none of us. We've all just given up and just said no. But then that has to make you question, like, well, you know, maybe this is a level of Edward Bernaysian fucking conditioning.
Yeah.
You know, that we're not too sure of yet. Maybe we're all being turned away from the news.
It's definitely was implemented as a strategy in Russia to do that. To confound the word, the populace, so that they don't know what's right, what's wrong. And so that they end up in a state of confusion where you just disregard everything. And once that happens, which is, you know, we're pretty peak there, then the government gets to do whatever it wants. So that's the scary bit of that.
Well, I mean, it is, but then at the same time, like, we're all foreigners living here, so we don't get a say anyway. Like, none of us are Polish citizens. None of us can vote here. I can't even vote in Ireland, anything. They want to bring in a thing where immigrants can vote in the presidential election. Sure, who gives a shit about the presidential election? I wouldn't vote anyway, because I've lived out of Ireland for so long now that I don't really think I should be allowed.
Yeah, I think that expat voting thing, unless your intention is to come home, within the next term, I don't think you should be voting.
I don't know. I mean, I think I'd change it to, like, you know, once you're out of the country, for the first, say, 3 years, you can vote for stuff at home. But then after that, then you have to vote in your new country. But, like, there shouldn't really be any barriers. Like, I don't understand why there's a barrier to me voting in Poland. Like, I can vote in European Union elections.
Right.
For Polish...
and is it just because you haven't filled out the right forms to become a Polish citizen, or is it that you can't become a Polish citizen?
Oh, no, I can. I don't want to do the exam because... look, it's like my mates, the English mates, British mates, they're all going to do it because of Brexit. So if something like that was to happen, I'd do it. I'd be fine. I'd pass the test, and sure, I'm married to a Polish woman. There'd be no problem getting it. It's just because the European Union passport, it's the same anywhere. Well, it's not the same anywhere, but it's having an Irish passport is a little bit better than a Polish passport, because it means if I ever do want to go to America, I have less paperwork to do.
And the UK. If you go through Northern Ireland currently this week, anyway.
Yeah. So I've no reason to get it really, other than to vote, and like Polish politics is a fucking cesspool of.
What's your thoughts on the idea of having an age limit for voting too? Because the older you are, the less chance you're voting in for your future. You're voting in the future of dictating younger people's futures. Shawn Locke was the first person I heard say that. I went, fair dues to Shawn Locke. I think that's a good idea. But then at what point do you stop, being important? Like, is it 6'5" and now you're no longer important, Granny. Off you go.
It's that thing like what is the age of when people are useless? Because like I saw a photo yesterday of fucking Clint Eastwood and Arnold Schwarzenegger skiing.
Oh yeah, you can see it. 90-year-olds. Like,
Clint Eastwood is 90, and like, look, if you have enough scruples to ski, I think you can vote, because skiing is one of the hardest things you can fucking do. Like, well, it's not that hard, but it's like driving. It's dangerous if you do it badly. Very, very dangerous if you do it badly.
Particularly, with the kind of hip problems that older people seem to have. But he looks like if he fell, he'd break the mountain. That's just like he's proper tough. Like. She's 90-year-old, and he'd just look like he'd kill you. There's no problem. Like. He
would kill you. He'd hate you.
Definitely.
No problem. Like, I don't know, Tommy, but I mean. I'd also lower the voting age. I'd put it down to 15 or 16 anyway. And just because it would annoy people so much. They're like, oh no, we can't do that because there'll be too much socialism. Okay, that's good. I like that.
Yeah,
when you're young, you're very left-leaning. Yeah, good. I like that too. But
that doesn't change. It's just society changes, and that's why you become conservative. You're like what's that thing the views you have when you're 15, 16 are the same views you have at 30, only one socialism and the other's conservatism, like, or whatever it is.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's interesting because we do say to people, like, when they're 15 or whatever, 14, you have to decide what you want to be for the rest of your life. But you can't make any important decisions about the
Can't
laws
vote.
that you will be involved in.
Yeah, it's I presume that shit'll change as the years go by. Will they? Surely they will.
I don't know.
You know? I mean, think about the thing. There's been so many societal changes in the last 100 years. Like, women couldn't vote. Isn't that mad? Could you imagine living in a time when women didn't vote? It's like, what?
But that's because it would only double the husband's vote or negate the husband's vote. That's the reasons. That's so weird, isn't it? That was a that's a good argument. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's...
That's
That's a ridiculous argument.
I know it's a ridiculous argument, but that was the argument.
I know,
that
that was the argument, yeah.
Yeah.
It's bizarre, it's really bizarre. It's like, I don't know, I think where you pay tax should be where you vote. And everyone pays tax anyway. Even if like they get social welfare, aren't they taxed? But you pay tax on your food and all that kind of stuff anyway.
Yeah,
so.
if you buy a Mars bar, you're paying tax.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's the way I think it should. But then again, would I be bothered? I don't know if I would, because I've only ever voted once in my life, and that was a student union fucking presidential thing in my college. Right. And in only one of the 3 years I was there. Right. And it's only because I was in class with one of the lads. I didn't really want him. I didn't really even want him to win, but like he's your mate, so you're like, fuck it, all right, yeah, whatever, I'll vote for him. And did he win? I don't even remember if he won. Yeah, he did win. And then the student union presidency thing is so weird. It's like, I want to be the president of the student union, and I'm going to stay in college for an extra year and not study. What? Wait now, we're finished college and you want to stay here longer. Yeah, but I'd be president. What? Why? What?
Why?
I do not understand you.
You get paid for it, though.
You get like free rent in the place and all that. But it's like, but you have to live with other students and you're not a student anymore. Ugh.
Yeah.
What's the point? Like, oh, great, I have it on my CV. Like, what? No, let's get a job.
Young people.
Or don't get a job. Become a hippie. Be happy. Don't do what you expect. Whatever. I don't fucking know anything. Don't ever listen to me. You should all know this by now anyway. Spud just rambles, and then every now and again Tommie is like, yeah, I'm gonna press the button on Spud here now and shut him up before he really digs himself into a hole. See, the thing about the Jews, Tommie.
If Vanessa said to me, he's going to do a live show, and I go, I'm not sure we can. we would need to do some sort of the delay that happened on live TV. Just go, oh no, and the big Spud is going off the rails button.
Maybe we should have like go-go dancers on the side for when that happens. Just ring a bell or something and they dance. Obviously it has to be. We can't have any sexual preferences, gender preferences in here. So we'll just get trans go-go dancers who are
pushing the Spud
button. There's a good Reddit called Change My Mind, and it's basically all just questions about trans. Right. And it's just.
I assume it's not its actual function. That's just what it's become, is it? Or is it?
That's Like not every question, but every second or third question is like, there are two genders. Change my mind. And gender isn't the same as sex.
That's the answer.
Oh God. Okay. All right. So white isn't white, and blue is purple. I get it. Okay.
Well, I mean, in one sense, not get all this, but I mean,
let's not do this.
Yeah.
Tommy button.
Yeah. So anyway, I have COVID.
yeah, you have. Yeah, you look awful.
Thanks,
I'm messing. What's your symptoms? You're not sick though.
The symptoms were that round the 23rd, I started getting like a really bad migraine headache and really tired, like proper exhausted. I just couldn't function. So you're disappearing now.
Sorry. I'm looking for my notes.
All right, and so that was grand, but I just thought it was stress. You know what I mean? Or it felt like a really, really bad hangover. Yeah, I hadn't really been drinking, but there was this whole thing that came with it that was very odd, in that I've heard a few people talk about it. This kind of sense of doom or dread, or I don't know, this kind of a need to want to destroy everything or get rid of everything, or run away in a sense, or remove all of this kind of stuff. I started thinking things like, I definitely want to. I want to delete the podcast. I want to delete the website. I want to, that's the whole thing. It's just, I'm not on the wrong path. It's just going I've
Well, is this because of what happened during our thing?
Well, who knows? Well, this is the
clairvoyance
thing. I don't know. And I mean, it definitely happened after that, but it's, causation, correlation, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Like, I mean, and I have obviously, you do any sort of creative work and you're going to get to a point where you want to delete everything. Anyway, but there was a different thing in this one, in that usually if there's, I understand what a depressive episode is. Like, I mean, I've had many of them, so it's not that it was, new territory for me, but it's usually in that there's a sense, I suppose, of guilt or of it in a way being not necessarily your fault. It's very hard to explain, but it's in this one though. It was fuck everyone, it was that get away from me rather than I want to get away from you kind of a thing. Which was slightly different. Which but again, this could. I
understand you.
Yeah, this could have just been my mood or whatever. But even down to like every part of my life, like family life, the whole lot of thing, I wanted everything to go, and even like because but I had enough of a kind of a cop on to myself that, like, so when you were saying, well, we do the podcast, I was going no, because at that point I just didn't want to do it ever again, and I was going like it looks like coming up, but I had enough. There was a bit of voice back in my head, this mightn't be real, let's not act on any of this in the middle of this kind of thing, and it's going, let me just not do it this week, I'm not feeling well. It's grand, and like those are the times when you delete your Facebooks and your Twitters and stuff like that, and you probably go, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So I didn't act on it too much. I just kind of let it ride out. But I remember one morning, I can't remember what morning, and I just, after being sleeping, woke up and just felt like I hadn't slept in like 3 weeks or something like that. This is like literally the first. But was checking myself, fever and all that the whole time. I had no fever, and I had no cough, I'd no sore throats, I'd no runny nose, no nothing. It was just a headache and the thing. But I've never had a flu in my life, so I don't know, what a bad flu would be like. So it kind of.
You'd know, Tommie.
But that's what I mean. I assumed I would know.
You would know. Yeah. You would know. Yeah. You definitely know, because it just knocks it like when we had COVID last February, was it January, February, something around that. Like, I've had plenty of flus, but this one just bowled me over. Like, just knock. I thought, like, there was stages that I'm dying here. I'm gone.
Right. Yeah.
But so you'll know, like, it knocks the shit out of you. So it's the same when Iga had it a while ago. It was exactly the same. She had what Iga had this time or a few weeks ago was probably like the same as what I had in January, February there. It just knocks the stuff now, and you're just like, oh God,
Yeah, the whole way through, though, I didn't feel sick though, in the way that if you have a cold or you have, if you have a cold and you have the chills in your bones, and you recognise the kind of there's a kind of a background coldness to it that is recognising or something. I didn't have that so much so that the whole thing, I just went definitely stressed. Like, this is stress. This is burnout. This is the whole thing. And then my friend, he texts me and goes, yeah, I've COVID. I'm getting or I think I've COVID. I'm getting a test. And I had been, we'd both been in the same place on a particular night. And it seemingly that there was cases coming out of it. And I went, all right, so we'll see what his test is, obviously, because he had gone back to it, and there was more kind of to his story than mine, and I was just kind of going, oh well, that's interesting. And then when he got his test back and said it was positive, I, for some reason, just you get the extra kind of scrutiny put on yourself, just thinking, all right, I realised I had no sense of smell, and that was kind of weird. And then I was kind of going, oh, that's odd, because I remember on Christmas Day going, this new aftershave I have doesn't really smell, does it? There's no smell to any of this. And all right, okay. I may talk to my doctor. But so the actual then symptoms all went kind of on the 28th, apart from the smell thing, which was grand. Glass half full, couldn't smell dirty nappies, so which was very interesting. So yeah, they got the test, and I wasn't at that point. I was expecting it to come back negative because it was like so long. You're only contagious or for 10 days since your your symptoms start. And so I'd been tested after that and still had it. And so, so it's an interesting one, because I don't know what way, because I have to wait on the phone call from the HSE to work out exactly, because, like, technically I could have had positive COVID test and given by how, the rules that you're allowed to go back to work, I could have went back to work the next day because it'd been 5 days since I had symptoms. It was 12 days since I had started on. All the things I tick, grand. And so other than I had the test that said, that it was positive. So I could have had a positive test and went to work the next day, going by the rules. So obviously that's not right.
Yeah.
And the only other thing is, from a positive test, if you had no symptoms, you have to wait 10 days. But because I did have symptoms, and now, my smells come back. So I just have to wait in a phone call. It can take 2 days, though, and I'm sure it'll take a while, given that there's, whatever it was, nearly 5,000 people in Ireland got it yesterday.
I saw a graph on Ireland's cases, and it's like there's a blip at the start, and then it's kind of down a bit, and it's not too bad. There's another kind of little hiccup then a few months ago, and then last week just
it's
4,000.
Yeah, so when the pubs opened.
Yeah. What the fuck are they playing now? Like, why? I don't get it. Why can't people just be like, yeah, all right, whatever. We've done it since February. We can do it in another couple of weeks or months until we get the fucking virus. But or the vaccine. You're not going to be any rush now to get the vaccine because you have all these lovely antibodies. It's great.
Well, yeah, but like some people are getting it immediately again. That there's this whole thing of like nurses kind of every couple of weeks getting it again. So it's like it's not guaranteed anything.
But isn't it every time you get it, it's not as strong?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
I have no idea. There was no rush for me to get the vaccine, and the only reason that I might get the vaccine quicker than someone is because my wife works in childcare and she's high in the list, which would be a bit stupid to vaccinate her. But I don't know. I don't know how it works. But it's kind of, and then of course when you're going around and kind of talking to people who you had any sort of contact with, and they've to kind of sort it all out, it's very stressful. I found that very stressful because it kind of hits like the interesting thing though, and this is kind of a broader thing that was going on, that while I was going through the whole kind of Magick is shit, the world is shit, it wasn't the world of shit, it was just that what I was doing was the wrong thing. Like, I didn't believe in magic anymore. The whole kind of thing, what I've wasted my life, all that kind of stuff. So while my kind of belief in the efficacy of magic or the reality of magic was kind of gone, what was going on around me was probably the most magically thing that has happened to me in a long while. In that certain things that should have happened around meeting people, particularly my family and stuff like that, and a couple of like these kind of insane synchronicities that allowed me not to do something, stopped me from seeing my family on the day that I was the most contagious, given the timeline. I therefore like and like just so had that kind of sense of protection that this, because I remember saying at the time, it came up that for reasons, COVID related reasons, that we ended up not being able to have the family get together in the way we wanted. And I remember saying at the time, Ashley, you don't know what you're being protected by. We did that thing. And I don't say that. I don't even believe that. You know what I mean? But I remember at the time, that's really strange that I said that, and it's this kind of thing. And so it's like, and there was like loads of other things, but yourself, there's plenty of things that you just don't want to talk about publicly and all that kind of stuff. But enough that it was kind of, so it was like, kind of the two timeline things. One where I was going on a complete arc down, this is all bullshit, and another where the actual reality of the situation had become the most magical thing in the world.
Yeah, that's mad.
Yeah. So an interesting time. It's certainly not over for me now because wee man and Vanessa had the test this morning and stuff, and hopefully they come back negative.
Do they do the test for the kids the same way? Is the thing up the nose?
It's so the test for the adult is you get each tonsil and then up the nose, and it's like 5 seconds in each tonsil and 5 seconds up the nose. Although Vanessa was telling me she was 10 seconds for her today. She ended up coming out with a bleeding nose.
Well, she does have lovely tonsils in fairness,
but for the children, it's just up the nose. He didn't give a shit, seemingly. So there you go.
Yeah,
happy days.
fair play then. Yeah. Hard as nails. Yeah. I don't know what the thing is here, but like they don't test you here unless you have to present 4 of the whatever it is, 12. There's 12. Let's say there's 12 symptoms. You have to have 4 of them here for them to even give you the test.
I think the smell.
Or you can just do it. You can just do it privately. And I think it's about. Oh Jesus! How much? I think it's 200. I think it's about 50 euros, 45, 50 euros. It works out as. And most Polish people are like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Because the thing, like I was saying to you, we had a little bit of a falling out over kind of thing.
Well, not really though. Did you feel it?
No, well, look, the thing is over here is that, I'll put it this way, right? When I was down the country and Aga got sick, and eventually, like, she was so sick she had to get the ambulance to come and but they didn't test her. They're like, look, they're 90 odd % sure it's COVID. You can go do a test. But the thing is that she had already had it for, let's say it was 2 weeks. If she had done the test then and it came back positive, that would have stopped all the work that me and the boss man could do for an additional 2 weeks, because we'd all be put on lockdown. And the thing is, that's okay. I can stay at home for 2 weeks, keep myself busy. But he's a rancher. You know, who's going to feed his horses? So we had to come up with something where it's like, right, you're upstairs in the house and you can't come down. And that's it. That was the self-isolation, which isn't good enough legally at all. But like we just weren't mixing, you know. Like she had her own bathroom and all that kind of stuff up there, and you know, anytime we bring her up tea or anything, like, you know, we'd have plastic bags on our hands and taking them down. We'd have plastic bags on our hands and washing everything immediately. So obviously it was good enough because no one else had any symptoms or anything. So, but that's it's a common thing over here. It's just like, well, if I do the test now, I've been sick for a week, that adds another 2 weeks onto it, and it fucks over everyone else in the house. So like, I'll just stay home and say nothing, you know. It's just the way it is. Like, plus, there's the whole thing is like, how many days are you? No one really fucking knows. Like, it's 10 days. Some places say, other places are 12 days, and then some places are like, oh no, you can still infect people 4 weeks later. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know?
Yeah, which is why I'm just going to go with whatever the doctor says to me. But it's that extra thing of being the fact that there's the preschool, that it's just, you can't take any chances
of course,
at all. Even from a legal point of view, if I wouldn't take a chance, because I mean, I just like that thing of like this. I don't give a shit about me, like, at all. Like, in the sense of like, grand, I get sick, and besides, it wasn't that, you know, compared to what my friend got, he got the shit kicked out of him for 2 weeks, like proper fucked. Like, so I like grand. But like if I had met my parents that time over Christmas and they got it and died, that's it. I'm not living with that. I don't know.
Yeah, no. How could you live with that guilt? Like,
Jesus Christ, you know? there's no coming back from that. Like, so I mean, pain in the hole, 10 extra days, grand. You know, that's kind of, you know, my kind of thought. But that's not the only kind of, like, as we know from how people kind of view it and all that, it's like 10 days can kill your business. Like, and then what do you do? You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, you have 12 horses there. Who's going to feed them? No one. They're going to die. You know. So what the fuck are you going to do? Like, it would have come to, like, I don't know. Like, you'd have to move into the little caravan down there in the middle of winter, snowing, and then you're in this little caravan. You know, I don't know. We were. I guess obviously very unlucky that she got, but like none of the rest of us got. It's weird that the fittest person in the family got it, and you know, like the old lady didn't get it. She's in the high risk thing. The boss man is in the high risk thing. He has a gammy heart and he has a bad back and he smokes 40 a day. I was smoking down there, the vape, but apparently smoking kills the germs, or the virus when. So like, should we smoke? Yeah, but probably not. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, you can mark down December 28 in your thing as Spud didn't die, but you know about that. But anyone's listening, you don't need to know, but you just know on December 28, for every year from now on, I want you to fucking get a pint and drink it and say, Spud! Yes! And that'll do. That's all you need to know about that.
You're not sharing that story, though.
It's too long, Tommie. We're half an hour in now. Basically, I'm not going to die. And that's a great fucking thing. That's a huge relief and something that nearly fucking destroyed Christmas for everybody. But yeah, no, I'm grand. I'm fit as a fucking fiddle. You know, I'm amazing. I'm all that is man, except for my bald head and shortness. But whatever. You know what I mean? Beggars can't be choosers. Here, how are you getting on with for Vicky? You still you back at it?
No, I haven't gone back. I took it. Like, haven't really got back. The only thing I've had any kind of related Magick or whatever is the subject is the Epoch book. I've been reading the couple of chapters today. That's it. I was kind of doing some of the meditation stuff with Vicky, but I skipped days as well. There's one day I was just after doing the meditation, because I'm now back sitting like in the lotus posture rather than lying down for the Magick stuff, and it's much better for me because I don't tend to nap as much.
Fall asleep.
But there was after one of them, I just kind of lay down and I just like for about 15 minutes go, I'm not getting up.
Yeah. His meditation ones, I know I've listened to 2 or 3 of them, but they're just like, fuck, you click on it, it's like 40 minutes. You're like, for fuck's sake. Yeah. I can't commit 40 minutes to achieving inner peace.
The actual meditation bits of it is only between 12 and 17 minutes. Once you get past like the first 2 weeks, it's only one long session a week, and the rest are just your standard type of thing. But of course, I mean, just listen to the lessons one, and then do your own meditation. Like
exactly. Dude, is he enlightened? I wouldn't think he is. Is he? I don't know.
I would assume he is. Yeah.
You reckon, yeah?
Yeah.
Because there's ones I'm on now. It was at episode 32 and 33, and he tries to reverse engineer what enlightenment is. And the thing is, I was working this morning, so I wasn't paying full attention to him, so I'm going to have to go back to him. But he made some, interesting but mad points about it. And then it's like, okay, why are you doing it this way? Why aren't you just doing it the normal kind of spirituality way of meditating? And he's like, he's starting at the end point and trying to work back.
As a scientist should.
Well, yeah, I suppose it is. But like, there's episodes there from, I think it's from like 28 to 30 something, and it's really sciencey. Like really, like, you know, like we all have a passing interest in science. All of us nerds, like, I'll watch science docs or whatever. But it's just a bit too much. Like it's just a bit too many acronyms and words that I don't really understand properly. You know what I mean?
Care about.
I don't care about, basically. You kind of lost me for a couple of episodes because it's too hardcore into the science. But I mean, he is explaining what he's doing and how. What does he do? Cognitive neuroscience, isn't that it? And how it's a kind of, it's like if you had a Venn diagram of all the different neurological sciences, this one is the one that unites them all. That's what he says anyway. Right, you know, but of course he's going to say that, isn't he? Yeah. You know what I mean? Mine is the greatest thing.
Remember in the film Fame, where they all go in and it's like the dance class. This is the hardest class in Fame.
No, I haven't seen Fame.
The music class is the hardest class in this college. That's the way all science is. You know, physics, this is actually the key to it all. You know, biology, this is actually the key to it all.
Tommie, I've never seen Fame. I'm not
You should.
That way inclined. No, I don't that dance fit and step up and all that kind of. Although, yeah, Aga and the lad I used to live with years ago had a massive obsession with step up. They used to do the moves and shit together. It was horrible. Oh. Yeah, I was like, are these having an affair? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, maybe. I don't know.
Grease was on over the holidays. That's a weird film. Particularly the esoteric ending where they just fly up into the sky in a car. That's very interesting. You've probably not seen Grease either, have you?
No, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Grease either. I'm not into those happy films. But it's like, it's no weirder than, Muhammad got on a unicorn and flew up into the sky.
Well, the rules of the game would be slightly different in that you're in a supernatural territory, whereas Greece is meant to be based in some sort of normal physics other than people sing and dance. And
Muhammad never comes up in any Enlightenment stuff, really, does he? I haven't heard his name, really.
I assume it's because most of the things we listen to come from a Christian point of view. Like, there definitely has to be Muhammad mentioned Sufi circles. Like, I mean, that would seem logical.
I don't know, but isn't Sufism like kind of older than what Muhammad was preaching about?
I don't know. All I know is the mystical side of
but I think it kind of traces its line back much further than Muhammad.
Oh, well, I assume in the same way that Christian mysticism traces its line back before Jesus.
Yeah, well, I suppose, yeah. Here, I've been balls deep in Druidry over the last couple of days, and Christ, there's a lot of Oh yeah, there was the word that you said a couple of podcasts ago, and I had to look it up. LARPing.
LARPing, yes.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck's he talking about? So a LARPing, I was like, live action role playing. What? Oh, okay, and so cosplay, basically, yeah.
Yeah, essentially that kind of LARPing would be more like reenacting battles where they they dress up as the actual soldiers and all that, or you go out and it's you dress up as the actual dragon slayer, and then you go and play Dungeons and Dragons as a kind of actual thing rather than just sitting at a table pretending. still pretending, but you know what I mean. You're actually
no, I don't know
Live
what
action.
anybody means. I just don't understand it. I'm like watching all these videos of like druidic meditations and stuff, and they're all going around with the gowns and it's like, why are you doing it? You don't need this. It's
Well,
I
they
don't get it.
obviously do. That's it.
I don't know, Tommy. I don't know. I just my impressions of it are it just seems like there's a lot of Eamers, and I was saying this to you yesterday. There's a lot of Eamers and Deirdres and Sharons, and they're just into playing their Bowrons and la 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 la. And it's like, no, you're not taking it seriously. Like, it should be about enlightenment.
Yeah.
Do you know? And like I posted up a couple of things to Reddit communities asking it, like, you know, where can I look for meditations that have to do with the what's it called, Imbas Forosni?
Okay.
You know, and there's other ones as well. And so this is like this Celtic or Druidic idea of enlightenment, but it was enlightenment through a bit like a shamanic thing. What the Druids would do is, and you can look this up. This is written down from a couple of sources. Sorry, from one main source, and then translated a few different ways from Celtic kind of researchers. And so you would go to the Druid and you say, look, Mr. Druid, I think my wife and my roommate are cheating on each other because they do these weird step up routines. So I'm a bit worried, like, can you give me some insight, some foresight, whatever. And then the Druid would take some raw meat. It was usually, this bit's disgusting. It was usually cat meat, dog meat, or pig meat, none of which you can eat these days anyway. Mm-hmm. And then they would half chew it, and then they would spit it out under what's the name? The threshold, the step of the door, and then they would meditate by putting two hands on their cheeks, and they would lie down, and however long it would take, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 9 days. And they would usually have a guard or something protecting
So like
them.
an incubation type situation.
Yeah, exactly. A kind of shamanic incubation. And, you know, I was asking people on Reddit advice on this, and like, because I used the example of Fionn McCool. And Fionn McCool, apparently, he was with a kind of wizard, druidy type fella, and he was learning all the ways from him. And your man needed to catch this salmon that was in the River Boyne, I think, and this salmon had eaten these hazelnuts that had fallen into the river, and they were full of wisdom. So the salmon ate these things, and the man's like, right, I'm going to catch the fish, and then I'll get all the wisdom. So Fionn goes off and cooks the fish, and some grease spits off the fish onto his thumb, and he sucks it, and then he has the knowledge. And it's like, so a guy yesterday was like, well, that's the story. That's like, so you believe that because he had some greasy fucking... come on, man. It's obviously symbolic for knowing, and like, he consumes himself. He sucks his thumb, yeah? And so by doing that, has ultimate and total knowledge of himself and his surroundings, and that's enlightenment, you know? And like, no, it's fucking, he ate a fish, and then the fish is magic, and the magic made him smart. No! That's not what happened.
The big lesson from that whole story for me is that if you find a fish of knowledge, cook it your fucking self, dickhead.
Don't give it to your apprentice, you moron. You know. But yeah, so it seems to be that because it's the druidic stuff is so it was just destroyed, like the Darkening Age stuff, the book that we were talking about. Even though there's no Celtic stuff touching it, but it's this same situation. And apparently, there's a story of St. Patrick was in a debate with some druids, and Patrick destroyed something like 136 books, I believe is the story. And like, there's other things as well, Chris, that like the druids believed in reincarnation, and there's that story that St. Patrick debated with Fionn when Oisin came back from Tirnanog. And it's like, right, well, actually, you know, it's not like he didn't come back from Tirnanog. It's that the druid, you know, 300 years later that St. Patrick is talking to, he claimed that he was the reincarnation of Oisin. That's what was going on, like, you know. So I think there's a lot of... I think the problem with the druidic stuff is that people take it on the surface level and don't look at the symbolism, which I know is me being a hypocrite now because of me, you know, going after Jonathan Peugeot because of the over symbolism that I think he puts on stuff. But now I'm like, no, well, come on, like these myths are they're myths, and you got to look you can't just take him as a surf. Come on, you're not just going to eat a fish and then you're going to be the smartest man in Ireland. You know.
No, well, I mean, I would agree in that, but I have more time for Jonathan Bajo than you have.
I don't say than you.
I would recommend you a book that you won't read. That's the only thing, which is Thomas Sheridan's book in Druidry, because it's really good. That's actually a more reserved answer or reply than I was expecting from me saying that.
Yeah, I'm not going to...
well, if it's any good to you, David Halpin on the cult book thing, he had a lot of good things to say about it too. So, but you see, again, separate Sheridan's YouTube from his books. His books are very good.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, I think I'm going to spend some time looking more into the meditative and philosophy side of it, and try and avoid the Bowrons and the Gowans and the
because it's neo druidry. It's a reenactment of something. No one really knows what the druids were. They're a very kind of there's not much of their actual stuff. It's kind of all we have for the most part is other people talking about them, which is that
one of the lads on Discord. I am Ursa, yeah. He put up a book from what's his name? He's famous in occult stuff. John Michael Greer.
Yeah.
He has put together a book which is based on a correspondence course that you could become a druid. But I looked into it. Your man Foolish Fish has a video about the book.
Okay.
And he says that it's based on. Remember the book we did, the Kybalion?
Yeah.
So the same person who wrote that book, who claimed it was, Hermeticism, and it's not really Hermeticism.
Yeah.
He's the one who originated this course, and John Michael Greer has updated it, but it's like, I don't know, it's not really based on some solid ground if it's coming from him.
You can get the original course fairly freely on the internet anyway, so if you're that interested in it. Yeah, it depends on who you ask wrote it, but it's like...
Yeah. No, I mean, I think John Michael Greer comes across as a fairly learned man. You know what I mean? Like, I'd go with what he says, but because it's based on something from the Kybalion fellas, I'd be like, I don't know, I don't really trust him. He was an awful liar. You know what I mean? Like, he was. If you look into any of his stuff, it's like he was an awful bullshitter. You know what I mean? He was like... is
this William Wallace Atkinson? Is that
his name? I think that could be it. All right. He's a bit like... who's your man that the Baptist heads are into from Armenia? Gurdjieff? Is it Gurdjieff?
Gurdjieff.
Yeah, Gurdjieff is cool on the surface, but like, oh Jesus, he had a lot of...
Gurrier.
Yeah, Gurrier. That's it. That's a good Irish word for a man. A fucking Gurrier. That's exactly it, what he was, Now, so any Americans listening now, you're going to have to decipher how to spell Gurrier and look it up. Yeah, I don't know how to spell it. Gurrier.
Gurrier? Gurrier?
No idea, man. No idea at all. Mira, we're watching the Polish film, weren't we?
DiCaprio. That was The Struggle. I can't pronounce your man's name, so you'll have to...
Yeah, Struggle, the life and lost art of Szukalski. So, I normally don't really recommend you to watch stuff, because I'd hate to be wrong, and then Tommie would like me.
I mean that's a legitimate concern. I think you should have.
It is. I mean, exactly. Yeah. I mean, what if I upset the Oracle? Oh no. So it's basically the story of this Stanislav Szukalski, and just the fucking mad life he had and the art he did. It's not occulty in any way whatsoever.
But there's definitely occult overtones to it, or undertones, whatever. There's the neo-paganism stuff that comes out of it, and he definitely has a somewhat occult's probably not the right word, but he definitely doesn't have a materialist outlook on what the world is. There isn't a spiritual element to it, I would say. But it's not about a magician or something like that. It's not
no. He's an artist. He's like if you know the Polish artist Baczynski, he would be a bit more famous. It's a similar enough kind of style. It's dark and doomy, but this is he's a bit more reverential to like old kind of Slavic styles and gods and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Really interesting character, like fucking. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it though.
I did like it, and it was like I enjoyed it kind of fairly. When you put on a documentary, like within first 3 minutes, whether it's you know, you're going to like it or not. And I've put it on and go, yeah, this is good. I'm going to be into this, you know, kind of straight away. And it's a good story, and it's like, from a technical point of view, the documentary's done very well in that it's sets up the whole kind of scene, and it's a kind of that investigative journalism thing, because it's going through the eyes of a guy who befriends him years later in America, and, you know, just kind of starts you know, trying to get him to do a book. He won't. Can I film you? He won't. And then eventually allows him to start doing these really kind of terrible Betamax recordings of him, you know. Yeah. But like, I mean, they obviously did a great job upgrading that, like, where it's still, you know, it's an old recording, but it's not doing that wobbly, you know, kind of distorted stuff. Or, and then halfway through the documentary, you know, it takes a twist, and some people don't enjoy that.
Your mate shows up.
And, you know, there's one guy in particular who's kind of just heartbroken by the whole thing. He just can't. So essentially, I would say there's 3 parts to this, which is his early stuff in Poland, where he, that it mostly doesn't come, you know, they don't find out about it until later. And then his second half is like where he doesn't do any sculpture at all. It's all basically art. And then the third thing is this mad, esoteric, revisionist, historical view of the world, where he says that everything originated from Easter Island. And I believe him. I think he makes a good case. Even if he's wrong, I'm still going to believe him. I think it's a fabulous
makes
idea.
a great case. Oh, he's totally wrong, but it's a great idea.
Yeah. The whole 52 volumes that he writes about it are all insane, but I'll buy every one. There's no problem. Yeah, I'm in.
I was looking at the price of the book. Actually, you can get it all in one book. I was looking at the price of it from on the Polish version of eBay. Right. They have archived prices. So the book 3 years ago was 50 zlotys, which is I don't know, what's that, 12 euros or something.
Right.
And but now, because of the documentaries, I think it's 300 is the cheapest one you can get. But that's still cheaper than anything you can get on like British Amazon or eBay or anything like that.
Will you get it? Do you care? Like,
I get it eventually for a crack, yeah, because I mean, he makes these cool associations from, like, he has this theory that, well, the reason native peoples all have facial tattoos is because what did he call them? Scum lines,
yeah,
which is a terrible name, because straight away you're just going, oh, he's a racist. No, he's not racist. Hold on now. Well, he was racist for a while, but not that type of racist.
It's very good.
We'll get to that. Yeah. And so he called them scum lines because these were the lines that the water had on your face as you were swimming during the flood. Yeah. Like, that's a mental theory. You know?
The Great Flood, the deluge.
The Great Flood.
That's magic.
The flood. Yeah. And then after that, so like all the people who like swam to Easter Island, or, well, obviously not, they died. But this is where civilization came back from after the last Great Flood, which is mad because, like, you see, it doesn't go into it a lot in the film, but you see that, like, he makes these associations between like the lines of a smile carved onto one of the Easter Island statues, and then he'll like link it up with like four or five other examples. So it's like, well, this is the oldest one, so therefore it originated in Easter Island and went from there, kind of thing, you know. But like, I read up a little bit more on it. And
don't ruin it. Just enjoy it. Don't look into the facts.
No. He says that like your boy Pan. Pan was a real thing, but Pan was the product of one of the baddies mating with a beautiful female.
Oh yeah, good man.
And then he becomes a god then because of this thing, but this unholy union. Yeah, mad stuff. Interesting. And then he makes this. He says that he discovers that there was one language, one alphabet around that time as well, which is okay. That's kind of cool, you know. Yeah. Maybe Oh yeah, that'd be great for sigils then, wouldn't it? If this was like the oldest language.
And he made his own language up from very early as well, like from as a kid. That he it's not his own language. It's his own
alphabet.
So I assume it's still Polish. He wrote in, but that like the letters are just. You know,
yeah, and what did he say? He's writing in his own alphabet, and the teacher rings up his dad. And he's look, sort this shit out, man, because your kid is crazy. He needs to write in the alphabet. And the dad is like, well, if it becomes illegible, then he will. Yeah. What? Yeah. How cool is your dad, man? That's amazing, you know. And then the story about his dad. His dad dies in a car.
That's so mad, that story.
That's mental. Like he's waiting for his dad in a. They've moved to Chicago by now, and he's supposed to meet his dad in a park, and his dad doesn't show up, and he's like, Jesus, Dad, where are you? So he fucking walks down, and he sees a big crowd, and they're standing around a body, and he's like, oh no, Jesus, oh no, it's Dad, and then he gets rid of the crowd. He picks up his dad and brings his dad to the morgue, which is the same word. And
it's a different word. It's the same thing.
Well, a different word was the same thing. I don't know why I did that. And idiot. And then he carries him all the way there, and then he's like, "Yeah, this is my dad. Can you do what you're gonna do? Can I watch? Actually, better. Can I have a go?" And then he learns anatomy.
Says, can I have the body? Is it like, can I have this body, please? And they say yes.
Different times, man. There were better times.
Yeah. And then it shows all his I assume his drawings from his dad. So he goes, when people ask me, how did I learn anatomy? I said, my dad taught me.
Oh my God, it's so fucked up. Like, he's crazy.
Yeah.
But like he's the kind of fella who's like, if you'd probably be able for 2 pints in the pub with him, and then you'd have to do that. Kevin Bridges thing.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah, Kevin Bridges was talking about Donald Trump and was saying that, look, Trump, we've all met this fella out drinking in Glasgow, and you can stomach him for a pint or two, and then you just turn around and tap him on the shoulder and say, enjoy your night, mate.
Yeah. That's
or walk off. And your man Stanislav would be the same. Like, he'd fucking intense. When the guy who became his good friend, when that group met him the first time, they cut away to the talking head, and the woman is there, and she's like, I had the biggest headache of my life after meeting him because it was so intense.
And it's like, he's kind of a bigot, but he's the most interesting bigot I've ever come across. He just hates everyone. No matter what country you're from, he'll ask you straight, where are you from? And then go on, a huge white-out country sucks.
Yeah, shit all over it. My Poland is the best. Yeah. But the Polish stuff is mad.
That kind of, so the middle bit, I suppose, that to find out the horror bit is that he was like pretty much, what's the correct word here? A staunch nationalist? Is that the fairest?
Well, anti-Semitic anyway. And a nationalist. Yeah, nationalist.
But also not into Nazis. Because he was asked to commission a piece for Hitler and did him as a ballerina. So, I mean, it wasn't as
it's hilarious.
There's kind of a weird... Which I suppose is, in a sense, the problem I have with, neo-Nazism is that, the Nazis would hate all you too. There's no question. Like when you see them in, I suppose, like different countries, you go, no, the Nazis were very particular about who they would let in,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about, there's this weird thing with well, it's not a weird thing, I understand, because I used to think it as well, with kind of Western Europeans and Westerners in general. When we think neo-Nazism, we think that all the white power and nationalists in every country is under the banner of Nazism, and they're not, because like the Polish nationalists now, obviously they hate the Nazis because of what they done in Poland.
Sure, yeah.
But what are they called? Is it ADF or something like that? They're called. It doesn't matter what the nationalists are called, but they'll have a thing where it's like, okay, I'm a nationalist in my country and you're a nationalist in your country, and we'll get on along those lines, but don't kill us, and we won't kill you, kind of thing. So be a nationalist, but remain within your borders, kind of thing. That's the way it works. Because I remember talking to a Polish fella here about it one time, and he just explained it in that way. It's like, look, don't call the Polish nationalists Nazis because they hate Nazis.
Right.
Yeah, but they are Nazis. No, they're not Nazis. They believe in some of the things the Nazis believed in, but they're not Nazis because they just want to be nationalists within their own country and have power in their own country. And I was like, are you one? And then he hung up. I don't know where he went, so I don't know. Yeah, and so but I don't know, like there's just this kind of, he was approached by the Polish government to do some work, basically. And he moved back to Poland then, and he started exploring the old, like, Slavic gods and making them in this, like, cool art form that was kind of like South American tribalist, but mixed with shamanic Slavic symbolism and all that kind of stuff. It's fucking amazing art, but it's Yeah, the undertones are not nice. But see, it's a weird thing because Poland was such a fucking weird country between the wars. Because like Poland's leader after World War II was really cool, had this amazing mustache and lovely hat, and he was class. And he wanted multiculturalist country for the Poles, the Jews, the Ukrainians, the Hungarians, and anyone else who was here, the Tatars, whoever else was here. He wanted a unified thing, a bit like the United States.
Yeah.
And come all, and we'll have a deadly country. But then as things went on, then it became more nationalistic. So Poland. Do you know the thing that we learned in school about the Germans invading Sudetenland? Yeah?
Yeah.
That was one of the precursors to the war. Well, what we didn't learn in school is that, Poland invaded the Sudetenland with Germany.
Oh, I did not know that.
Killed lots of Czech people, you know? Right. And then after that, Poland got fucked over by Hitler, obviously. But what led up to the Sudetenland was kind of, Poland was in a hard place. It was kind of like, well, help us, Poland, or we're going to crush you. So Poland was like, sorry, we'll do what we have to. It's a strange fucking, because Poland had like a right wing authoritarian government in play as well. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't just Germany who had it, and Italy and Spain and that. Portugal even had it. Do you know? It was the way of the times. But anyway, I'm getting off the point here. He came back, and he became involved in doing stuff for the government and all that, and then he released this book called Crack. And
it's a
like a newsletter,
fanzine or something. But not just him. He was like, correct me if I'm wrong here. He was part of a thing rather than he created it. Is that right?
Well, he'd have been head honcho of it, but like, I don't like, it doesn't say in the documentary if he wrote in it. You know,
someone mentions a couple of paragraphs in a pamphlet. So
yeah.
You know,
and so then in this stuff, there's anti-Jewish stuff, anti-Semitic stuff, Jews out and all this stuff, and anyone who didn't appreciate the Polish nation was just a Jew, you know. Yeah. And it's like, but then like back in Chicago, his best mate growing up was what's his name? The director, the Jewish director. What's his name, Tommie?
Hecht or something. I can't remember.
Hecht, yeah?
Something.
And
Jewish dude, anyway. Yeah.
He did Gone with the Wind and loads of other, you know, loads of other well-known films that I can't think of any names of. And so, like, while he was writing stuff about, like, how bad it was for the Jews in Europe, he was in Europe saying, like, you know, fuck the Jews because they buy my art kind of stuff.
Direct,
it's like,
is that right? Direct, something like that, yeah.
And, well, it's a weird thing because in Poland at that time, it was just like everyone was anti-Semitic. It's not like he was being different or being... every fucking country in Europe was anti-Semitic then. You know what I mean? No one has clean hands during World War II. Nobody.
Yeah.
Do you know? Nobody. Like, even... Jesus, Ireland, there was a boatload of Jews came from Germany to Ireland, and De Valera said, no, good luck. Off you go. We're not taking this off. You can fuck off to Israel or Canada or America. We're not having this. The English did the same. Boatloads of Jews stopped at the ports. Said, no. I don't know. I don't care where you go, but you aren't coming here, kind of thing. You know. So everyone's hands are dirty. So I think maybe he just got caught up in the times. The winds of the times, or whatever.
He definitely seems to have changed his tune after, but I don't think he got caught up in the wind. I think he's okay to have a Jewish friend in America and still be nationalistic about Poland because you're outside of Poland.
Yeah,
you go like, this is America, so this is the culture that you're to embrace when you're here. He says you can be nationalistic within your own country, and so I can see, but I'm in Poland, you're not here. You know, this is different rules. Now, up until the point, he seems to definitely have at some point realised, oh, hold on, that's probably not the way we should look at it. Or say stuff to the effect of that he seems to have changed his mind.
No, I think he did. I think it's fairly genuine that he wasn't a racist when he got older. After World War II, I don't think he was a racist.
Yeah.
You know, before World War II, I think he was a racist because he bought into it.
Right,
Do you get me? I thought it's not the same. Like, he wasn't. No one's born a racist, but you know what I'm saying. I think he just saw the fucking gap in the market and says, "Well, everyone is a racist, so I'll be a racist too," because everyone is. Do you know, it's kind of like I was talking about this to Agan. It's kind of like, well, it's kind of like the way in Ireland, the way people don't like Irish gypsies. Do you know?
But you don't set up a newspaper against them if you're just going along with the.
No, you don't these days. But this is pre-World War II.
Yeah,
it's
but
different. And as well,
I mean,
like,
the most people in Poland didn't start. A newsletter.
No, they didn't start newsletters, but most of them would have been anti-Semitic.
Sure, but what I'm saying, but your point is that he just was going along, and it goes, well, if he was just going along with it, he wouldn't.
Okay,
most people
sorry, of course,
Yeah.
you're right, you're dead right. Yeah, of course, I'm wrong there. Yeah, no, you're dead right. But then when he got back to America, then so what happened then is he's in Warsaw, and then the Germans come along and bomb the fucking shit out of Warsaw.
Yeah, that's intense. That whole section, because you can just go like. We were so horrified by having to sit at home for 10 days watching Netflix. And you go, people actually were bombed, just their house destroyed, had to run away. Run away. Yeah.
The war was so bad in Warsaw that to reconstruct the city, they had to use paintings. They had to use paintings. They didn't even have the blueprints to rebuild it, Wow. Honest to God, it's mad. They had to use people's paintings to try and piece it back together. But he lost all of his art. All of his art.
Yeah,
everything he'd ever done.
Everything. Yeah. And when he was fleeing, he at the time was seeing the Nazis destroy one of its sculptures.
And then
he had an interesting thing though. He says that everyone in Poland ran one way away from the Nazis, and he said, "No, fuck this," and walked towards them, not to fight them, but to just to get past them in a rather than running away, which obviously worked.
Yeah, but he had an American passport, they weren't going to say no to him,
Yeah.
But so then they moved back to Chicago or to America then with 3 suitcases, and then he fell through the cracks then because for some reason, I don't know why, it's not explained in the documentary, he doesn't go to Chicago. He ends up in fucking California and ends up working as a architect, the draftsman.
Oh, and he did some work for not Planet Apes, the King Kong or something. He does.
That was before the war.
Oh, was that before? Yeah, of
course.
Well before. That's 33. Yeah.
So it just falls into complete anonymity, and just no one knows his work after that ever again. It's weird that he was known before World War II, and then after World War II, just no one gives a shit.
Well, I suppose that's what happens when every single bit of your art is destroyed, plus a bit of what's your country.
I suppose. Yeah.
And also when he did marry a really rich woman, and he was living the life, and then he fell in love with a poor woman, and left or got thrown out, and he had a daughter who. I think he ended up not talking. They didn't talk or did some sort of separation.
They couldn't find her for the documentary, or if they did find her, she didn't want to have anything to do with it. That's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a bit Crowley-esque stuff. It's a bit Scarlet Woman's thing going on.
Yeah.
But he seems to genuinely have like his second wife or whatever. They lifelong like that. That seemed like a proper genuine. Love affair. And they tried to have kids and then they miscarried and never mentioned that. That's no one would ever talk about it. Which that's fair. That's all that. So what he's just literally still working away doing his art, drawing, until director dude finds him at some point. Is that kind of what happens?
Yeah. What's the story? How does he find your man? He was
that
in a
has to be
bookshop
30 years at least. Is it 30?
It says even more.
Yeah.
From the was it the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, was it? He found him. Look, he found this book in a bookshop one day and he's like, this looks mad, so he bought it. And then he walked into a library not too long after that and there was a piece of art on it that looked like your man's. He said, "Oh, where'd you get that?" And he said, "Oh yeah, there's a man who lives a few miles away. That's his art." He's like, "What? He's still alive?" So then he meets him and his mates meet him and they all start these interviews and all that, and it's just it's just this fucking weird hero's journey story, because even like that thing about the end of the hero's journey is when you bring back your wisdom and give it to other people. That's exactly how he ended his life.
Yeah, exactly.
But like he didn't have the hero's journey of returning with a pot of gold, but like he shared it's the proper hero's journey. He shared what he learned with other people. It's mad. I was just watching this and it's just ping, 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 ping. Every single thing on Joe Campbell's fucking list of things he did,
Yeah, and it's like, it can't be overstated. He is an amazing artist. Like and even from here's the sculpture he did when he was 12 or 15 or something, and it's amazing. And it's like he walked out of art college because they wanted him to work from photos, and he goes, "Nope, not doing that. Good luck to you." And like, even and particularly like when he explains some of the stuff and you understand what where he's coming from it, and didn't do any sculpture after the war at all. It's all drawings, and the only thing he has is like one kind of a half foot of part of a sculpture or something, and that's all he has. But like, it's so
really
good.
like even though there's the anti-Semitic stuff, you still can't help but feel for him, because it obviously the way that the documentary is made is that like he's an old man at the end of it, and he's nice and jovial, and he's a bit cuckoo bananas, but he's an artist, so of course he fucking is. But like you see that he's a nice man underneath it all, and so the anti-Semitic stuff comes as a surprise. You're like, fucking holy shit,
it devastates one guy in particular. Like really, he seemed, and it's to the
that's
point where I'm going to go.
That's Leonardo DiCaprio's father.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
And he dyes his fucking beard.
I know. I hate him and Ryland are really getting on my nerves at the minute.
Why would you dye your beard? Just grow old gracefully.
All right, at least don't do the or what the Ringo Starr, Paul McCartney. Just dye your hair and leave your beard. It gives you that kind of, some sort of beautiful. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But at a point, I thought he was going to leave the documentary. But he does come in and says some nice thing at the end. But I think he produced it as well, didn't he? Or Leonardo?
Yeah, it's him and DiCaprio. Yeah, there's a photo of Leonardo DiCaprio hugging your man Stanislav in 1980 or something like that.
I believe in redemption, and so I have to say that I think. Some crimes that you probably should be condemned for the rest of your life for doing, but in his case, I think he did turn around and have a different view in it from having the experience he went through, and I think that's fair. You can have some shitty ideas, have an experience, and go, I was definitely wrong about that, and you should be forgiven. I think. I agree with you 100%, man. If you're sorry, then other people should forgive you. Yeah. But as long as you're genuinely fucking sorry. And I mean, like, you can forgive the person and not forgive the sin. I mean, that's fine. Like, I mean, we can all still. That doesn't. Of course, what I mean is, it doesn't take away from how shitty his action was or his thoughts and all that. So that's not the kind of forgive that. Say it's all right that he did that. Certainly not. Yeah. But I think it's cool that. And it's the kind of has that broader thing of should this kind of recurrent theme we have of like what. If he was like a full-blown terrible person by the end of it, I still think you can look at his art and go, that's fucking amazing. And we become, I suppose, a bit obsessed with the cult of personality and, celebrity, where it's as important the person as it is their artwork, which probably, we know that's a new thing. That's an Edward Bernays kind of influence on our society. Whereas, like, I'm sure... like Caravaggio was a gurier, to reuse that word, like an absolute asshole or whatever, but it doesn't matter because he's like amazing, and like his story's really interesting. He's like a proper dickhead, like, but like, funny, funny now in hindsight, not funny if you were, around him or not particularly funny for him. But I was kind of glad though by the end of it that, in places it seems like there was kind of excuses being made from, in a sense, that thing. But I think he had a genuine kind of, redemption in it. And the main guy, the director guy, or whatever exactly he was, the initiator of the whole thing, he never wavered his kind of love for the man, and he definitely had this second father kind of relationship with him, and it hit him really, really hard then, obviously enough, more than anyone when he died. And touching ending where to go to Easter Island and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was an interesting. It seemed kind of sad that he himself never got to go to the island. That would seem to have been something that was missing from the arc of his, his storyline or something, that, there should have been some sort of point, given the amount of work and, the obsession with the place and all that. But maybe it's not that easy to go get to Easter Island, and I'm sure there's no airport on it. You know what I mean? Like, so
it would be now.
Would it? It's a big enough.
Then there wasn't.
Easter Island big enough.
The amount of tourists go. Yeah.
Well, whatever. But yeah, top class, great. Totally, I'd recommend it. 10 out of 10 documentary.
Yeah, I watched it 2 nights in a row. It was so good. I watched it on my own. And then I sent it to you, and I was like, I sent this thing to Tommie. It's about a Polish artist. Do you want to watch it? I told her to watch it on her own.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it, I'd watch it again, actually. You know, and it's brilliant. It's just such a well-made, well put together documentary, and I like that it doesn't. I like that it addresses his badness, the dark side, you know, and the redemptions in it. Now he never comes out and says, that he was anti-Semitic during the war, and because he tries to hide as much of the thing as he can. But that's because obviously he's fucking ashamed of it.
Yeah. But he does say many things that are definitely not racist. They're like deliberately the opposite of it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. He's comes across as very kind of loving, caring.
And given that, I suppose ultimately he believes that we all come from Easter Island. How can you be racist if you believe you're all one, man?
We're all the same. Yeah, it's good. So check it out if you like art and Poland and definitely Jews.
And the whole there is the like it's not completely off the table for a kind of magic occult thing. He does have particularly his revisionist history of the world has like. It's that and the language and all the thing we've told it would be very interesting to someone who's not into art or any of that but would be into magic. It's worth to watch just from that whole point.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to talk about the other thing?
Come here, just quick. Did anyone put up questions for the Discord? I think
there was two people did. Yeah. I meant to redo that again. No, that's my fault. I meant to put more up on whatchamacallit, other social media, Patreon, but I didn't. Right, no, there is now. Where are we? Talk among yourselves there while.
She smells, snee smells, none the snee snore. I can't do any
things
like that.
Here we go. For Christ's sake, where'd I put them? Oh, it's in announcements. That's why I'm in the wrong place.
If I had a laptop, I'd look, Tommie, but I don't.
For Spud, this from Abraxas. How has your life changed since Tommie turned you into one of us weirdos?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Where the fuck do I begin with that? Well, I have no money anymore because I just spend it all on fucking books. You know what I mean? I'm seriously thinking about becoming a druid now because of this shit. Like, what the fuck? Jesus, it's weird. Like, and then, like that book, that Epoch book that we're doing this study group in, like, if you'd given me that even a year ago, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? And now I'm like, oh yeah, this all totally makes sense. I'm on board with this. It's just, I've gone from being, see, here's the thing, like, I always, but I've spoken to this before, I always kind of thought I was open-minded, because like, I went into journalism thinking, I'll be objective, I'll be as truthful, as honest as I can and try and make sense of this fucking world, But you're not, though. You think you're open-minded, but then when something happens, you're like, nah, you like that. It's like, no, well, you got to look at it from the other side. And something clicked. I don't know when it was. Maybe I think it was one of the Hellier episodes or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm looking at this the wrong way. Like, I just should be looking at it. Instead of saying that's impossible, say, okay, it's possible. No, sorry. I'm going to look at it as if it is possible. And then through that, I'll find what the impossible thing is. Yeah. So so it's like someone gives you a car made of cardboard, and you're just and instead of saying, no, I'm not driving that, instead sit into it, put on your seatbelt, and then start the engine. And then if it's not working, then you can say it doesn't work. Yeah. So it's just kind of try everything once kind of thing, Well,
it's the chaos magic thing of act as if it's true. So you got there before you even were aware of that as a thing.
Exactly, yeah. But like, I think I'm lucky in that, like, like when I first started hearing about like shadow work and all that kind of stuff, I'm lucky that I'd been through what do you call it? Therapy. Yeah. So I've done a lot of that stuff.
Can you imagine? I'm not getting on with that. Right, let me rub your back.
You have to run away from your shadow. Okay. What? Really?
Yeah.
I shouldn't ingrate it. I shouldn't, try and work with my shadow. No. Who told you that? Who the fuck are you, Carl Young? Get the fuck out of here. Do your press ups, you fat bastard. So. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. There was a lot of synchronicities and coincidences for me that happened before I got into this stuff, Like that maybe there was nowhere else it was going to lead other than here,
Yeah.
And through like reading stuff, like, I mean, like fucking, like the first couple of chapters of that fucking Pendulum book, Reality Transurfing, was just like, wow, this makes loads of sense. And then there was like, and then coming across, like I think Alan Chapman's and Duncan Barford's 3 books there. They're the 3 greatest books you'll ever read on Magic. They're unbelievable. Like you know. Yeah. Well, they're actually no, they're not unbelievable.
That's it. Yeah,
totally opposite of unbelievable.
Yeah.
They're very believable, you know. And I still I don't think I'm ever going to like Crowley, but I can appreciate a lot of stuff he did and all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy out, Tommie. So thanks, you dickhead.
No worries, no worries.
You know, I'm. It's cool that I have a new kind of, you wouldn't call it a hobby, but a new calling to learn about, you know, what's beneath the surface of all of us. Because, like, you know, you can be the staunchest fucking atheist. You can be the staunchest atheist, but there's still something that you don't know. So, it's just a scratch you want to itch and say, yeah, well, you know, maybe. And like even stuff like Hermeticism and the Tree of Life, and you just go, yeah, this. I mean, if you go with it, it makes total sense, and you can use it in your life to be a better person. Now, I'm not going to go looking in star charts and stuff like that because it's just a bit too. I know I say that now.
Yeah, this'll be a soundbite in 6 months' time. Spud the astrologer.
I know. Yeah, I know. That's always
Tommie,
what happens,
look at this. Mars is in Jupiter today. We have to. Let's go. Calm down, Spud.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think you can get a bit too loud. It's a bit like what I was saying at the start with the Druid stuff. I have a line that once you cross that line, I just see it as this thing LARPing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so my line might be fairly high compared to other people, but it might be very, very low compared to other people. But once I see it going too far, I'm like, no, because I don't need to, like, I don't need to wear, fucking Kerry sheep, authentic greened wool from virgin fucking sheep, which doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah. But like to do druidic rites, I mean, you can go out and just celebrate the solstice in your fucking Adidas. Do you know? Well, what's the big deal? Like, so yeah, my line, maybe the line will change. I don't know. I don't think so. No.
So the next question is, Tommie, how does it feel converting Spud as you have? It's an interesting one, but this is kind of the general one I have about all things, is that I have a huge kind of reserve about not adding to the bullshit. And given the type of person you used to be, that you are kind of, and not that you're a different person, but you have a different kind of outlook, different thing. I would be worried about corrupting you, and that like you definitely are more of a believer about it all now than I am. Like, I mean, I think that pendulum definitely has swung in the other. I'm definitely more incredulous about the whole thing than you would be. And so given that, it's kind of, there's sometimes when I'm in, particularly say over the Christmas and stuff like that, when I'm in the downward spiral, I'd be going, Jesus Christ, maybe I've fucking fucked the lad, like, or something, you know. But I feel that in all things, that's my main worry about doing podcasts, doing videos and talking about this, where the whole idea was that I just want to kind of, I'm interested, so I just want to talk about it, whatever, and with the thing of that I don't know if it's true or not, and please don't ever use me as some sort of evidence that it's true, because I have more times where I don't believe it's true than I believe it's true. And my working thing is that I act as if it's true, and I get interesting effects. But like whether or not it's true, I'm more doubtful than I am thing. But it's like what you were saying about the atheism thing. I can't believe in that either. Like, I mean, it's in the same way that I mentioned this before in the podcast about art, and I was saying that I wanted to give it up at one point. And a friend of mine, Gar Shanley, says, "Yeah, try that, see what happens." And it's the same with Magick. It's like, it's all bullshit. Right? Yeah, try that, see what happens. And look what happened over the Christmas, where it was like the most in the long while down. I went through the it's all bullshit, having the most magical effects around me, and my brain being okay with that in some weird way. It's kind of going, I'm, there's definitely this stuff going on, but I don't believe any of it. But I do, but I don't. And I think it's mostly about I don't want to corrupt people, or I don't want to put people down the wrong path, and I don't want, like, say that the kind of the Great Conjunction episode and stuff like that. It was kind of, I would only want that to be sent as entertainment, not proof of anything, because we don't know what it is. Yeah, and I don't. And that would be, so that my worry with all of it is my worry for Spud. That's the answer that I can give in that. I hope that it doesn't harm you, or that you see it in some way. You put too much faith in it because of my influence. That's
get let down. I'm not going to get let down.
Not let down, but genuinely, like that thing where someone says, I need to pull my eye out because of the fixer. Like that, like just no, that's. Yeah, obviously, and it's funny, but it's not fucking funny. Like,
okay. Yeah. It's not funny if he did it. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, of course, it's funny, but in the ridiculousness of it. But it's not funny because that's the type of thing you're going, well, say that happened, and you go like, it's like the Marilyn Manson thing of like, ultimately it turned out that they didn't listen to his music, the Columbine people, but there must be a point where you go, oh, fuck, well, in some sense, not that I'm to blame, but there is a responsibility or something. It's the responsibility of it all. I'm not particularly, it doesn't sit with me. I don't like it. I would like to, I obviously like talking. I obviously like writing. I obviously like, discussing these things, but it's the kind of, I balk, if that's the correct word, at, that kind of idea of, in some sense, teaching people around. Because I don't know. I'm not qualified. I'm not in any way. I just like talking about it. That's it. That's my rant. Is that a legitimate answer to all that?
Yeah, that is. But sure, I mean, look, I often come to you with questions, and you'll tell me what you think. But like, you have to appreciate, Tommie, the only person's opinion I actually care about is my own.
Good. Yeah.
It is like, okay, obviously Aga's as well, but not as much as my own. She's my wife. But like, my opinion counts more because it's my opinion. But you know me well enough to know that, like, I do investigate my own things. I don't just if someone says something, I'm not just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I say, okay, why does that make sense? Or why is this working for me? And why does this not work for me? And you know as well that, like, usually that's the default setting, is I'll find the problem in it, disprove it to myself, and then I'll go with it.
Yeah.
So man, don't worry about me. I'm grand. Like,
good.
You can keep shoving things into those voodoo dolls. It's fine.
So, Crow asks, and this is the final question, how is it that you ended up living in Poland? Women, right?
Woman, yeah, we'll just say woman, wife. What's the short version of this now? Celtic Tiger hit Ireland. There was job opportunities in Poland. There was an apartment here which wasn't costing nearly as much as the rent in Dublin, and we just said, yeah, fuck it, let's try it. Like, I think I came up with it.
Right.
Do you want to go? And she said, yeah. So that was it, really. That's the short version of it. Yeah, that's it. And didn't like it for the first while. And now I love it.
All right. I didn't know you didn't like it.
Well, let's say the first year or two I really liked it, and then I hated it for a long time. But now I love it again.
What, and was it culture, lack of speaking the language, or just not being in Ireland?
No, none of that. No, none of that. It's just I just didn't like where I lived. I lived in this apartment in Blockland, Legoville, and just how to explain it? It's not a nice city. It'll never win any awards for being pretty, or like it's. I used to joke with the lads that my granny's house in Wexford is older than your city. And it has more history, and it's, it's kind of true. But when it is older, it probably doesn't have as much history. But it's like, it never spoke to me, the city. And then as I've gotten older, then I don't want to be in cities anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's just, obviously it took me that longer to figure out why I wasn't. But I wasn't happy anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I left Ireland, I was running away from problems. They were eventually going to fucking catch up with me, and that's why I ended up going to see a fucking shrink anyway, But after seeing her, then things got like way better. And then we were lucky enough with work and stuff like that we could put enough money together for a deposit for a house. And now we're living in, we're not in the countryside. There's still 30,000 people in this town. It's still big by Irish standards. It's small by Polish standards. But just a lot happier. Way happier.
That's crazy though when you think about, like, 30,000 people and it's like small or whatever. Like, there's whatever it is, 25,000 people in Dundalk, and it's the biggest town in Ireland.
Yeah, mad, isn't it?
That's crazy.
Absolutely. This is so small. Like, there's people in Poland don't know where this place is. Like, it's that small.
That's crazy.
Which is funny, yeah. Well, it shouldn't, because it's on the back of the 20s zloty note. There's a thing, the rotunda from Cheshire. So if you ever see a 20 zloty note the rotunda from this town is on it, which is pretty cool. I think it's like the first kingship or first princes or something were here. It's a mad place because it was Polish, then German, then Habsburgs, then Czech, then Habsburgs again, and then putting the Polish now, and God knows what it'll be in 20 years' time. But yeah, the woman, I ended up here because of a woman. Like all Westerners end up in Poland. They do. It's always a woman.
Yeah.
You know.
That's how I ended up in RD. It's the same thing. I didn't travel so far though.
And they always rule the roost, Polish women. You're never going to... No man is ever the boss in a relationship with a Polish woman. No, never. And I think that's why... we used to say this, why Polish male drivers are so fucking bad and so tense and raged on the road, is because they're bait by their women at home, you know, into submission. And this is their only fucking release, is beeping and tailgating people on the roads. But anyway... yeah, but I love it here. It's great. Honest to God, I love it now. I just didn't like the city I was in, and it could have been any city in the world. It's just where I was in my life. I wouldn't have liked it, you know. Because my mates who live there, they all love it. They think it's great, and I'm just like, nah, I'm not arsed with cities anymore. I'd rather a bit of peace and quiet, so I can, you know, talk to Tempe or whoever, Carl Jung by divination cards. Fucking hell. You want to mention that?
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah. So yeah, what's your thoughts? Well, the last podcast was us doing a number of divinations, channeling type things. What's your thoughts on it afterwards? What was
so look, I've listened back to it twice now, and because I wanted to compare it to the Baptist Head books,
right,
and see what I was saying through Aeon or Tempe, and how it was different from theirs. And theirs was different in that. Well, in one of them, they're doing a tarot divination, and tarot cards come up, and also they have the runes as well, you know, and a lot of numbers come up for Duncan, because Duncan's the one in the thing, and there was no numbers coming up at all, for when I was doing it. But I suppose it's kind of like when we were discussing it after. Remember I was saying to you, I thought it was weird that like he was using my words. Obviously he's using my words because it's the way it is, like, but. But
it's with that's worth noting, you know, the grammar, vocabulary, all that, but also your turn of phrase, which is interesting, you know. And there's one in particular, not in Ion, but in the Aether thing, where you just said something like, "Do you want me to spy on you?" or something like that, and I was just like, that's so mad, because that's like something you would say, you know what I mean? It's like that I find that, I was gonna say odd, it's not what I mean. I find that interesting that.
Well, they're the bits that make it hard to believe, Tommie.
Yeah, but the opposite of that is when someone, like say Abraham Hicks, which you don't really know but people will know, does the channeling thing, or Bashar, where they do a voice and have a very particular personality and all that. That's equally ridiculous. So I don't know what I'm actually looking for, you know.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, that's kind of freaked me out or upset me at the time of doing it. But then again, like what like it'd be even more upsetting if I started speaking in fucking Latin. or Aramaic or something, you know. That'd be far worse. I'd be totally freaked out. So I don't know. I mean, by listening back to it, like there was stuff, the first time I listened back to it, I was kind of surprised or a bit shocked, because there was a lot I didn't remember.
Right.
Just loads I didn't remember. And that might have been the fucking fungus or something else. I don't know, but it's just I don't really remember. But like from comparing, say, the answers that the Baptist Heads got and to like the stuff that we were getting, it's not too dissimilar that you wouldn't say it's not the same thing or entity. You know what I mean? I think it was the same thing. With the second one, I don't know what the fuck that was. I have no idea what that was. Yeah,
well, apart from my annoyance with the whole thing at that point, I think what I would have done differently looking back now is that I would have asked them about where they were. You know, because like we were scrying the Aether, which is, you know, you're meant to go on the thing, and then didn't really ask about what was going on there, because it kind of
go back. Come here, I want to ask you about Aeon though first though. This question just came to me. What did you get from it?
Here's my
any new learning, any understanding.
No, that was why I kind of was pushing with the other thing to try and learn something, because it it all sounded like exactly what I would think someone would get from a channeling thing if it was just someone's head. You know what I mean? It was coming out rather. It didn't. And I said it to you after. I says it didn't feel like I was talking to an external being. It felt, if anything, that you were talking to someone and I was talking to Spud. Even when the voice changed and stuff like that, it didn't. Like there was no sense of talking to something other than Spud. But I want to make clear, in the same way that my HGA experiences, I think it's exactly the same as what everyone else's HGA experiences, and I think the channeling thing is exactly the same thing. It's as successful as most of, if not all of the. I think we did what other people did, and thing. But I just don't know. I don't have the same conclusion what that is. Then, like say when Duncan.
Maybe it's the separation of the internet thing. If we were in the same room, maybe it felt different.
Possibly, yeah. But I mean, even with the HGA, which was obviously it was a thing that happened in my head or in whatever my vicinity. It's come back. I suppose I find it. I would need something more than that for me to be, in a sense, convinced that there was something actual happening. And I mean that by the Tempe stuff in the Baptist head, that I'm not convinced by that either. Like I think what we did and what they did is the same thing. I think my HGA experience is the same as Duncan Barford's HGA experience. I just don't get to the conclusion that they did from both of those things.
Look, I mean, reading back over their stuff, like they're asking about the Gulf War oil crisis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they're getting these weird answers. Like, why? What are you doing that for? Do you know? So like, and there's plenty of predictions that they come to from their talking to Tempe that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Loads, you know what I mean? But like, happily we didn't go down that route of predictions.
Only because they wouldn't let us. I'm not here to tell your future.
No, he said that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I don't know. It's a strange one. Like, I mean. When it happened, I was convinced it was true. When I was listening back to it, I was convinced it was true. But when I try and put logic onto it and try and think about what happened, I find it difficult to believe that's true.
Yeah.
You get me?
I'm going to go full Jordan Peterson in this and go, what is truth? I think it's true because it's a thing that fucking happened. You know?
Yeah.
And it ticks all the boxes for metaphorical truth or mythological, whatever. Weinstein's thing is that thing where I push. Can you tell me the book that I have in my hand? I think
that's with the Aether. Yeah,
that I think that's a very legitimate thing. And I think there is in the literature and in the tradition is test your fucking spirits. Don't believe just because they arrive. And I also asked, was it okay to do that? So I mean, she got annoyed after that. Being that, but because I had already said, right, well, should we let her go? And she said, no, I want to stay here. And I goes, well, can I ask you some questions that'll be test, the thing? Yeah. And then when I did, got annoyed. So, it's like if someone said to you that, I'm really good in guitar, and then you ask them, well, can you prove you're good in guitar? And they go, oh no, I'm not here to prove that I'm good in guitar. You go, all right, okay.
In the town where I was born,
it's like I can play the solo to Eruption by Van Halen. Well, can you play it for me? Oh no, I'm not here to prove that I can do it. So I definitely, if anyone is doing it, I find. If I had known the answer, but I don't mention it, I should have explained a bit better in the thing. When I'm asking Spud or one, I can't remember her name now.
Eitzel is the name. Yeah.
What my HGA's name is. I know what my HGA's name is. That was the point. Not that I was trying to find out what my HGA. And we knew that, and she knew that, but I didn't know if the listener was knew that. But yeah, I would definitely, if people are doing it, testing it. The problem I have with that is I should have been asking about the place we were trying to scry, because that's the point of that. But it just kind of veered off a bit. So that's my definite. If I was to do it again, that's what I'd be doing.
I've heard one interesting theory from someone about what happened. So, and I sent it to you. There's this photo that someone showed me, and it had the names of the entities you're scrying, yeah? So we were after Tex, was it? Tex-Mex.
Tex-Mex.
Yeah, Tex-Mex with the best tacos in all of heaven.
Yeah.
And so you had the name Tex, and then beside that there was 3 other names. And my understanding of it was that if you don't talk to Tex, well, then you're talking to one of these, and then they'd introduce you kind of thing. But this is the weird one now, and you said I'm leaping here, but just bear with me for a second. And I probably am leaping a bit, but so there's, how many is there? 30, yeah?
Yeah.
So on number 8, like 8 Zil was the name I heard from the lady, but on this image was 8 Zid. Yeah. So my name was ATEZIL, that's what I think I heard. Yeah. But then the name here is 8 and ZID, so 8 Zid.
Yeah, but the reason... right, okay, go on.
No, but let me explain the theory. The theory I was told is not one I came up with, right? Because I'm an idiot, I don't know shit.
Yeah.
He said that something, when Chapman did his thing, Chapman claims that he was pushed forward from 30 to somewhere else, to where he should have been on the hierarchy. Yeah. You get me? And so that might also have happened to us. Right. We were pushed forward, but then maybe you react in a bad way, in a bad way, in the way you did,
in the correct manner.
Well, yeah, whatever. You reacted that way because we're on different places where we should be on it. That's one theory that we could go with. I don't think there's much point, because to be honest, after the whole thing with scrying the Eaters now, I don't think I'd be bothered doing it again. I'd rather talk to Tempe again. Or to Aeon. He seemed cooler.
Can I just, I'll respond to that, please.
It's nonsense, yeah.
There's no even remote part of me that can go with that, because it's based on, number one, the 8 isn't, that's
yes, 8 isn't part of the name, yeah.
And it's not even the right spelling of the rest of the name, so it's the wrong thing. It's just this is my problem.
Well, okay, but there's not that much of it. There's not that much of a difference between 8 Zil and 8 Zid.
Well, there's a huge thing. Well, it's 33% of the name, like and 8 has to be spelled wrong as well.
Yeah, of course.
So most of that word is wrong.
Yeah,
and it's in the wrong place.
I know.
And here's my problem. Not with you, with all things. This is what we do. It's like you can look for stuff and you can find stuff, and you could be absolutely delighted with that. But don't think you should be, because it's like I do a sigil for 50 quid and I find 20 cent on the ground and go, my sigil worked. Look, I got money. No, you didn't. Your sigil was for 50 quid, so you failed. Yeah. And I think
48.80, and
it's the
49.80.
The big thing I learned from doing the half peeled orange is that how the slightest and not even slightest connection to a half peeled orange satisfied people as having a victory, which is fine, do what you want. But very few people got a half peeled orange, but some people got a slight bit of lime peel, and that's that I obviously won this game. Or some people got had some orange juice, and it's kind of going, that's fine. But that's not, if you're happy with that being the kind of result of your magic, or you can kind of do something like that. But it's not. I don't think it's good. I wouldn't recommend it. I think I think you're in the realm of fooling yourself.
Look, I'd say it's a theory that I was kind of not told, but I was.
Do you want to say who told you? I know.
No, I won't say.
I know who it is.
We both kind of came up with this,
Right. Yeah.
And so okay, maybe it's possible, but probably not. Like I actually have less of an interest now in scrying the Ethers than I had before.
Right. Yeah.
After the experience of it, I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Because the thing is, as well as that, like I know, like you can just. You can do your angel work on the tree life if you want to do the same thing, because the Ethers are angels. There's less on the tree life. It's faster. It won't take so long, and you don't have to come up with those weird Enochian words that sound fucking. They're why, Anyway, no, look, I do the stuff again, but like I don't. When I try and rationalize it, I can't believe in it. But because it happened to me and I was there and it's recorded, you can hear it that I think it's true and happened to me. I wasn't LARPing or putting it on, because I'm the type of fella that if I had seen nothing, like the first thing I saw was the planet, the green planet, and then there was the waves and the water on it. If I hadn't seen that, I'd have just said, "Yeah, Tommie's not working."
Yeah, absolutely.
We just keep going. I'm not going to bother bullshitting people. For
No, and I
purposes.
definitely want to reiterate that I don't think that, and I think what happened is what happens when you channel things.
Yeah.
But it's
The proof thing, though, Tommie. Why do you need so much proof? You know, because
well, why believe anything then?
Well, yeah, why
Well,
believe
how do you decide what to believe or not?
Yeah. How do you decide, Tommie? That's the question. How do you decide?
Here's my thing, because I guarantee you there's a podcast equivalent to ours about two guys talking about Jesus who think they're convinced about the whole thing and that they're right.
Yeah.
And that always is in the back of my mind. And you kind of go, well, you have to have, then, nothing wrong with believing in Jesus. That's not my point. But you have to, in a sense, hold yourself to a higher standard in order to know what's right, because there is definitely stuff that I can't explain that is magical or it seems magical and all that kind of stuff. To not have to look for A-Z and wangle something in, and it's diluted. It's unconvincing. Because the literature and the tradition says you should be, I don't know, a bit more sceptical about it. I don't like that word. Incredulous is a much better word because it's longer and has more letters and makes you sound fancy. But it's, I don't know.
Maybe then a suggestion the next time we do it, and we'll ask these proof questions. Maybe try doing it through divination or something.
Yeah.
You know. Rather than because
we were very unprepared. We were
unprepared. But maybe that's why the lads, because in the Baptist Head stuff, it's never really revealed why they go after Tempe. You know, other than Tempe was the alien. Wasn't it? Wasn't that who Tempe is? No.
Tempe means time, so he's the god of time. He
time.
tells the name of Tempe.
I'm thinking of the alien thing. No, that's different. It's never explained at the start that.
You're thinking of Lamb, that
Lamb. Sorry, I'm thinking of Lamb. They never explained at the start of the chapters, how to explain it. Not like they're doing the reading, they're coming in and out of trances and all, and then suddenly they'll say, "Oh yeah, it's the sun tarot cards." Like, oh hell no, you had tarot cards. What's going on here? That's not explained at the start of it. And then the next thing, there's some runes. Like, whoa, what are you like? You're bringing in stuff that you haven't mentioned. So, yeah, maybe next time that's what we should do and say. Like, if you're not getting an answer or something, or like, can you prove something? Just do it through 40 servants or tarot or whatever.
Yeah.
Although no one's ever going to be able to predict the fucking book you're holding by a tarot card. Are they? Maybe they can, maybe they can't. I don't know.
In theory, they should. Like, if the Ion, who is unbounded time and the god of all things, should know what fucking book I'm holding. I didn't ask him, but I mean,
Yeah.
But I did also ask, what is the question to ask? And there was no, it's like just going, I'm not proving. And fair enough, why would you prove? We rang you, hello, Spud, can you prove you exist?
Yeah.
But if it's a case that they don't know something that me or you don't know, then it's pointless. It's a pointless endeavour too.
Yeah.
So either way, it's if they can't prove or don't want to prove and they don't know something we don't know, then the whole thing is pointless. The whole point is to call up these beings who, in theory, should know something more than we do.
That you don't know because you want some insight or some what's the word? Revelation from
That's
them.
It.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, totally. Which we weren't really after, in fairness, though.
No, I don't know. I don't know what we were after. We were just kind of going, this would be a bit of crack. And I think,
shits and giggles, like.
And it's literally the thing that they say, don't do that. Don't call up people for have the crack. But it's supposed we had it, this sort of slight thing of, it's the great, conjunction and, it's what's the relevance to this and stuff.
Yeah.
And why not?
Well, look, maybe that's why the Carl Jung thing was so clear then.
Yeah. That's
because that had a purpose and we wanted to know.
Yeah, because there was an exact question.
But does that mean then that Carl Jung's Aeon book is would he disavow that now and say, yeah, I was totally wrong about that, lads?
No, because it's what the card said was exactly what he says in that book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I thought he predicted the end of the world and bad stuff.
Well, I mean, it's not on that day. I suppose it's from this point, that it's he was just very, I suppose, negative, had a negative view about the whole thing. But it's kind of the pattern that exists in Ion, the book, is the pattern that that can be read. You could make an approach that the cards that came up could be read in the same way. Had I not read Ion, or would I have had the same interpretation of those 3 cards or 4 cards? Possibly not. So, I mean, how much am I reading Ion into the thing that present? I think I'm okay at divination. I think it's something that I'm all right at. Like, in the sense of that, I think I'm good at it. Right, so I can recognize when I'm bullshitting myself, and in that, I felt I wasn't really bullshitting myself. That's
so. If your one had said, yeah, you're holding the Carl Jung book, would this have totally changed the game for you then?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd be here.
That's
we go.
it. So But it's mad, man, that you're after this solid proof. Like, you invented the 40 servants.
Yeah, but I made it up. Yeah, you know what I mean. I made it up.
Yeah. You're a control freak, Tommie.
No, it's not a control freak. It's well, I mean, like I am a control freak, but I'm not a control freak in this thing. It's like I don't understand why you wouldn't want proof. That's my thing. I've literally no idea why you would just be happy, particularly the type of person you used to be. I
get you.
Yeah,
I think. I don't know, yeah. I think it's just because it happened to me, then I'm like, yeah, that's proof enough for me.
One other thing, and I hate this, it's which I didn't want to say, but I think it is relevant. I've done this stuff before. Yeah. And so, I've had people say they're talking to spirits and all of these type of things. So it's not to say, oh, I'm more experienced than you, because that's bullshit. In that I've...
No, but you are. I haven't done any of this before.
But so I've been in that situation before, and I have had the thing where I believed it and went with it, and I've had the thing where I did the test. I think the book test is as good as any test. And ultimately, I think I was right in those situations because of how they unfolded, and particularly in a couple of situations. So it's not. It's like I just don't, because I don't want to be saying, "Oh, Spud, you just don't know what you're on about," because I'm definitely not saying that.
Yeah, but Tommie, I don't know what I'm on about. I genuinely don't know what I'm on about.
I'd be very interested in given that you seem to have this kind of gift of vision or not divination, that you see, particularly through your HGA work, and you have this kind of visionary thing that I occasionally have. I don't have it in the same way you have it. So I'm very interested to see that develop and what comes out of it. And then in a couple of months when we come back, or whatever, when we do a couple of weeks, whatever we want to do it again, and how your approach and how your thing changes, and whether it kind of encourages it more, or whether you go more in the kind of, I don't know, logical sense or whatever. I'd be interested, and I think it could go either way.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I'm kind of afraid of it. I don't want to mess with it because I don't know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
Do you know? And I remember doing stuff with the HGA before, and she was like, "If you're going to do it, it was about dead relatives." And she's like, and the answer I got from her is, "If you're going to do this with like love and kindness. Don't do it for shits and giggles. It's just exactly what we fucking did. Like,
yeah.
Do you know? Don't do it for the crack. Do it because there's intent and you're coming from a good place, kind of thing. You know." And maybe that's why I'm put off then by scrying the ethers, because I don't really have any interest in it, and now I have less so.
Yeah, well, I've tried to do it on my own twice previous to our thing, and nothing happened. Literally nothing happened. Which I thought was interesting, given that I can remote view, fairly successfully. So it's not that I don't have some sort of capacity in that kind of area. So I don't know. I mean, it could be. I suppose there's less when you're doing remote viewing. You're just kind of whatever. That's what's happening here. Whereas it's a bit more, I suppose, concentrated. Where you're with the ether stuff that I probably am forcing it. Which remote viewing is basically the opposite of forcing it. You're decontracting your mind or whatever. So probably my approach is just a bit crap.
Doesn't your man has a recent article? Is it Duncan Barford has an article just the other day about that? It's about why we think sigils and servitors work, and the difference being that like a sigil is something you do once and you're supposed to forget about it, and your subconscious will make the magic happen. But a servitor is something that you keep and use from time to time, and it's like, well, it's the same thing. What's the fucking difference here?
Yeah.
Kind of describes it very, very well in the article. His articles are great.
Yeah, I thought I had subscribed, or I thought I should, like, how do you know when he releases an article? Like, what does it come up in your
I get an email.
I thought I did that.
Oh, it's a WordPress email, isn't it? I think you go to his website. I don't remember. I just put my email on his website, and I get it when there's a new
because
thing.
I'm not. I've obviously, I don't know. Maybe he's blocked me.
Yeah, maybe it's the wrong. I wouldn't think so, Tommy.
No, I don't think so.
No. Yeah, weird. I don't know if we'll. Yeah, we can go after Aeon again sometime, but Ethers, nah. You know, I don't know. Maybe like you could even do like I know you're not really into the Tree of Life like I am. Like you could do that kind of stuff as well, but like I don't know. Like I think people when they do this stuff, and the lads did it in the Baptist Head stuff. They went after the prophecy and what's going to happen here and what's going to happen then. And it's like personally, I don't give a shit what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about now and today than. You know, like, who's going to win the fucking Epstein Derby in 2023 so I can put an early bet? It's like, no, that's bollocks.
From Epoch and Pete Carroll's whole thing of, divine short and conjure long, do magic for long term, did it because things change, man. So, like, what's you could ask Ion for something today, and as we know, the world changes very dramatically. And by even, when you do a divination yourself, or for someone else, the fact of having the knowledge that you now have from the divination.
That changes the future, doesn't it?
Change it. Unless you believe in determinism, fatalism, and all that, which some days I do. I can't say I don't, but here's something I want. I'm like, how are you for time? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm sound. Yeah.
Kind of one of the reasons I realised that I don't do magic for things. So we're talking low magic, I suppose. Is this kind of thing in the back of my mind is that your things are unfolding, correctly, as if there's some sort of plan or whatever, so that you should just go with what happens rather than trying to, force something.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, am I missing out on, things that could be fun or, some sort of experiences because I'm just kind of going, well, if it's for me, it won't pass me, and, all that kind of trite New Age hogwash, but it's also definitely a part of occultism.
You really
too.
hate New Agers, don't you?
I feel that I have what's the word? I've negatively affected my brain. New Age, so I'm a bit kind of.
Well, but I
drank the Kool-Aid.
You bought
a bit
into
too
it
much.
already.
Yeah,
okay. Because the thing is, the way I kind of see it is that like if we are in this New Age, but then maybe listen to it every now and again, like
No, well, I mean, the New Age thing I'm talking about is not necessarily the Ion thing that.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm talking about Hay House books, and this type of like American spirituality is essentially what I'm talking.
I understand you.
Yeah.
I understand you, man.
So there's just kind of an element of me is going that, and maybe I should be imposing my will on things a bit more rather than just kind of allowing things to, as if, because there's that thing in the second Matrix movie. I know, you shouldn't like them, but I think the second one's okay. Where Neo was talking to the Oracle, and the Oracle goes, "You're not here to make any decisions. You're here to understand why you made them. The decisions are already made." And Peter Kingsley says something very similar in reality. Alan Chapman says he's talking about something else. Not convinced he is. And it's that thing of not who are you to decide what is best for you also rings true into me. Like, who am I to know what the best magic is to do or what the thing is? And so you kind of have this fate as well. So I mean, can make a good case of that you should have fate and stop trying to get in the way, because my creative process works best when I get out of the way of it. So shouldn't my life work best when I get out of the way of it? But so I don't know. I just want to know what your kind of thoughts are on having fate versus fuck yeah, I'll have I'll do the magic and and put my will on this world and shape it.
Tommy, do you think I've not asked my HDA for the lotto numbers?
Well,
because I definitely have. Right. I definitely have more than once.
Right.
And I've not gotten them.
Right.
So, like, what can you do? Like, you're just gonna okay. Obviously, then that's not for me. Then that's not the path. But like,
that's it. That's the end. Like, but then, what's the point of magic? Right.
Tommy, I'd be an awful fucker with money.
No, but I mean, it's just me question.
I would, Tommy. I'd have half a Coke. I'd have half a Columbia up my nose by the fucking weekend after. And I don't even like drugs. I did many years ago. Yeah. I fucking hate drugs now.
But it is But the answer still is like, right, so what's the point of magic if you're able to get what you want, you're just going to destroy your life? What's the point?
No, come on. No, the point of magic is enlightenment. That
right.
I'm sold on that.
Well, so
I'm sold. It's enlightenment.
The thing of fate is a better magic than doing a sigil. And then, in a proactive...
what? When I started this magical journey, we'll call it, occult journey, I prefer actually the magical. I still don't like the word magic. It's weird for me to say magic. Just think of Paul Daniels and Debbie McGee. What was she doing with him?
Money.
Anyway.
What first attracted you to the multimillionaire Paul Daniels? Yeah.
His little Willie. What was he on about? Sigils. Yeah, sure, I thought loads of sigils, and none of them ever worked.
Right.
None of them. But all the sigils were for things.
Yeah.
All of them. None of them were like, I want some insightful revelations about family dramas. No. Who the fuck makes a sigil for that? The sigil is for like, hey, I want a threesome with fucking Cindy Crawford. Sigil, and then wank on it then. What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? It's perverts.
I do have success with sigils, but I can. It's on things. The more I want something, the less it works. I mean, so there's obviously a reality transferring element to that.
Yeah, that's the whole law of attraction, though, isn't it?
But I can get I always say 60%, but that lowers. If I don't give a shit about something, like if I put in something like a knowing smile or a wink from the universe, guarantee you within 2 hours that happens, right? Because I don't really care, because I know they're not going to change my life. Synchronicities never give the full game away, which is the whole point. They only give enough to just kind of nudge, but they're not. They're not giving, so
it's a nod and a wink.
Yeah, so that's fine. But when it came to say something, I don't know what would I really want, like Jesus Christ, whatever, but I really want something. There's no chance it's going to happen. And in fact, there's a less chance it will happen because I've done the magic for it, I found, which is an interesting kind of thing, which would lead me to believe that, that's where I went then on the route of, shadow work and stuff and try and get sort myself out and all that.
Yeah. But, well, I think that, in my short experience, I think going after the big stuff is better, because you learn more about who you are, maybe subconsciously rather than consciously. Who your inner person or persons are, kind of thing. Because the 28th of December thing,
yeah,
oh man, that freaked me out, and I was on the phone to Minerva a lot, like.
Right. Yeah.
Do you
think that thing affected the 21st, like the conjunction, like was that like there's certain questions that are asked that
there was a question exactly that I was lost for words, like when Aeon said, did you ask any message for Tommie or for and he said this, was it him who said stop doing stuff you don't like or something, wasn't it?
I can't remember, but it was one of them.
So I think it was something like that. And then
his was the unfolding thing, the flower.
Right, the tulip, the flower, yeah. And then for me, it was like, there was no big thing from him. It was just like, Spud's going to be all right.
Yeah.
And, okay, thanks, Yeah. So, I don't know, things, just, I mean, I'm old enough now to know that things don't fucking make me happy.
Yeah.
I'd love a new guitar. I've had a crappy SG guitar since I was 17 and the neck is broke on it and I have to have gaffer tape holding it together. Honest to God,
right.
But I love picking it up and having a strum on it. I don't need a new guitar. I'd fucking love a new guitar. We don't need one. I'm all right. It's like that with most things. It's like with starting the kind of carpentry and wood art. Like, if that was me going into that a few years ago, I'd have put all my money into getting everything as soon as I could and getting all the equipment and all the tools. And now I'm at the minute I'm making this dagger thing, and it's a pain in the arse because there's one thing I don't have, but it costs like 1,000 zlotys. So I don't have it. Well, I could pay for it, but I want to pay for true money I earn from the woodwork.
Yeah.
And it's knowing that, take your time, you'll get there. It's grand. Stop rushing things. Stop the frenzy of the need, of the want of. You get me?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's more about but it's the thing they said. What's it? Divinate for now and long. What is it?
So in chant long, divinate short. So that's not the right word. That's a paraphrase, but that's what it means. Yeah.
So I think with my approach to all these practices, or be it meditation, or because it's mostly through meditation work and divination, I do my stuff. It's more you're just kind of looking at the long goal and just trying to not trying to make sense of the world or anything like that, but trying to make sense of your own place in the world and just God. Like even enlightenment, I'm not even too sure what enlightenment actually means. Is it just like a oneness with yourself? Is it Carl Jung's individuation thing? Is that the end goal? Because I'd be happy with that, because that means that I'm the complete Spud.
Yeah,
This is Spud. He's happy. Okay, what else do we fucking want? Do you know? Maybe if it rained a bit less. But like, I can't do that. No one can do magic that affects the fucking weather. You know, I don't care how much of a druid you think you are. You can't. You know, it's impossible. But like...
Or is it?
But Alan Chapman's thing is with the magic is to... it's the meme that you made years ago. The aim is the goal should be something you can influence. Isn't that it?
Yeah. There has a means of manifesting, yeah.
Yeah, but sure, I mean, you can't make it rain, like... You know, unless you're fucking in a strip club with all your dollar bills.
Yeah, well, in theory, there has to be a means manifest. In that, you could, in the sense of, go to a country where it rains. Number one, don't go to a desert. You know, don't. You're quite likely to be able to make it rain in Ireland. You know, but that's the thing. But it means like rather than going, has it a means manifesting in the sense of I want to fly, I want to have a threesome with Cindy Crawford. Right? Has that a real means of manifesting in your life other than a dream? And the chances are you're going to have it in a dream. You know, so, because it's not, you know, it's like thing, but it's, Gordon Mike calls it, you know, don't attack a walled city. It's the same idea, you know, like, I mean, are you attacking a walled city? Are you doing something that you can't get? And if you are, then you're not going to get it. You know, it's like Magick, Bean and Pete Carroll, obviously, it's the influence on Gordon White and this and that. It's probability enhancement. It's a low probability enhancer as well. It's not a huge probability enhancer, but if it works, why not use it? You know, so it's not dramatically going to change your probability, but given enough probability changes, you can nudge things in quicker in your direction, which I think is proof. It's like that kind of thing that statistically, you know, that the difference between, say, 50% chance and 55% chance is huge. Sounds like nothing and sounds like inconsequential and all that, but it's huge ramifications. So if magic is only a 5% dip past chance, then if once we're aware that that's what it is, then I think it's a decent approach. Just coming back to the means of manifestation. So in Ireland, a 5% chance of getting rain is probably enough for it to make it rain.
Yeah. I get you. Yeah. But like, why are you asking the question then? Do you think you're doing too much low magic, or?
I don't do any low magic at all, and haven't in a long while at all.
Right.
And my question is that, or my query would be, is that, am I needlessly not having, comforts, or, should I be having that new guitar instead of, you're saying you don't have the new guitar? Like, is that, is it okay to, in a sense, do that? Or do I just allow it to be that if I was meant to have a new guitar, that it would arrive? And I'm kind of more in that if I meant to have a new guitar, then it will arrive. Same time I bought a new guitar this year, so,
Yeah, but that's the thing. But like, you have to, like, do you know, I think
last
you
year.
have to decide.
Last year, oh my God.
Yeah, last year. I think you kind of have to decide where is your line, because you can say, yeah, I'd love to Magic a new camera, but you know what? I have 200 quid here. I can buy the new camera. And
yeah.
Like, I think a lot of the low stuff is just people kind of pissing into the wind and saying, I want this, I want that, I want the shiny new things, and just being magpies in general.
Yeah, another thing, I don't like. A lot of the reason why I don't do the low magic stuff, and I know people don't like that distinction, and I don't particularly like myself, but we know what we're talking about between high and low magic, is I don't really want more stuff. I want books, and I mean, I can buy the book. I mean, I don't. And for me to magic a book would be very similar to me calling up Ion for the crack, because it's like a test. Oh, could I magic a book? Could I get someone to do it? And I don't need to do that. So I mean, possibly the reason why I'm not doing low magic is because for the most part, I'm all right. Like, but should I have done, like, say, I don't know, a sigil to, make sure my test came back negative, of my COVID, say. And I'm going, right, probably could have. But like, if you've COVID, it should have come back positive. So you're kind of fucking with things that you probably shouldn't fuck with,
I get you.
Have you changed the tests, or have you changed the fact that you don't have COVID? Which have you done? And so, and you don't know the ramifications of that kind of thing. But it's easier to probably see with, So with a guitar, like whether you should get a new guitar or not, it'd be, well, what's the knock-on effect of it? Like, you know, like I can't see a downside if you're getting a new guitar other than you spend money that you probably, you know, you should have paid your mortgage.
Spent on something else.
Yeah. But I don't think it's going to dramatically change your life unless you suddenly want to become a songwriter or you know, and it spins you off in this kind of a, I don't know. I'm not really sure there is an answer to it. I think it's probably ebbs and flows and there's kind of things, but I think it probably should do some practical magic for a balance type thing. It's just it's like the going to confession. It's trying to go, well, what do I, you know, it's trying to come up with what the thing you actually want. What do you want? It's the hardest question in the world. I have no fucking idea what I want. What do I want? I have no idea. What would make you happy? I have literally no idea.
do you ever send out like mind bullets? Like, you know, like you're in Lidl or something and obviously there's only one fucking cash till open. But like, are you ever kind of walking around pushing around your trolley and like, right, when I'm finishing, the next one's going to open. And just say it to yourself a few times, you know?
Yeah.
And then go off and get the chicken and whatever. And then as you're going out to pay, then new aisle is opening, and you just slip in. And you're like,
or the
I fucking did that. I fucking did that. I fucking did that. I was driving to my mates the other night, and I had a choice of two routes, and one is a highway route that's busy but safe, and another is through a back road, which is obviously at night time not as safe.
Yeah.
And I was coming up to this roundabout that's at a village that's about halfway on this. It's not an unsafe road, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Riskier at night time. You know, in a country that has the highest accidents in the European Union. You know, so I don't like driving at night time, as you can tell, right? Yeah. So as I come up to this thing, there's this old granny in a fucking Seicento or something like that, and she's doing 40 in a 70 zone. I'm like, oh, gee, I'm stuck behind this fucking old one now. And then I remember, there's a roundabout coming, and I went, you're going to turn right. You're going to turn right. You're going to turn right. And as we got up to the roundabout, she didn't turn on her indicator. And I went, fuck. And then she turned right. And I went, yes! I did that. Thank you, Minerva. And I went on to meet my mates and I got drunk. Yeah. And but it's like, is that magic? That can't be magic. That's just a coincidence, isn't it? Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know?
Which is why, but that right there is why I push for proof, because otherwise you don't know. You're left in a constant state of I don't know. And but then like how much proof do you want? Because like I'd be doing some magic work or whatever, talking to the HDA, and like a bird would suddenly sing, and I'm like, I know you're just messing with me, and then the bird would sing louder. I'm like, okay, I believe you. Yeah.
You know, like I mean, is that I'm looking for the sign? Obviously, I'm looking for the sign because you're talking to something that might be real, might not be real. You don't have a fucking clue, like. But I think you just kind of have to take the signs as you see them, or as you think you see them, or as you interpret them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure I made that woman turn. Like, I can't. I actually, I know for a fact I didn't make the woman turn because she was turning to where she lives, or to where she was going to see her friend. I had nothing to do with that. But it's pretty cool that I said she'd turn, because you know, you come to a roundabout, I have a 25% chance of being right, and I was right. No. I've more than that, because she might have been turning around. She wasn't going to turn around because she... Anyway, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a 1 in 4 chance or 1 in 3 chance, you're still like, yeah, okay, cool. I had something to do with that, hopefully, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
But ultimately you think it doesn't matter?
Stuff like that doesn't matter. But I'm glad she did get out of the way, because she was... she wasn't... She was... the speed that she was driving at on that road made her dangerous. Yeah. So I wanted to be rid of her as quick as I could. You know what I mean? And anyway, I would have passed her out at the next broken line in the road. I would have passed her out anyway. Yeah. So it either was going to happen at the roundabout, or I would have passed her out in a kilometre or two anyway. So it doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But it's just, as coming up to it, I said, you're going to turn right. And it happened, and it's just okay. And I know people listening are going, "This guy's a fucking idiot," but I think you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But there's that thing that, like, in these Baptist head books and all that, and they're like, as you're going up towards enlightenment, more things that you want to happen mentally happen. You know, and they're like, you know, the case is that you're having an effect on the outside world, or you're seeing the world as it really is, kind of thing. It's not that you're affecting it, it's that you're seeing, okay, for example, with the lady that was driving, I see that there's a possibility something could happen in the world that happens in the world.
Yeah. No.
So it's different, but it's just that you've become open to seeing different things differently. And
It's the 4D versus 3D or 5D.
Yeah, so I think that's it really, rather than you having any. But look, sure, I don't fucking know. Maybe we could all get together and do a big group fucking seance on Discord and try and get the lotto numbers and just share it out between each other. Why not, like?
Yeah,
I'd love to be rich.
We'd have to work out what country the lottery.
Imagine all the books I could buy, Tommie. Imagine all the books I could buy if I was rich. It'd be amazing, you know.
And a guitar.
And obviously things for my wife. And the guitar and presents for people that I know and love. And I'd even buy presents for people I don't know. I'd just leave shit out on the lawn and say, here, this is for the homeless people because I have too much money. What am I doing with all this money? I don't need this money. Look at me, Jeff Bezos. I laugh like this. Ha 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 ha. He laughs like an evil genius. Have you seen the Jim Carrey thing?
I've never even heard him talk.
Who was the Letterman was interviewing Jim Carrey, and Jim Carrey was I don't laugh like a normal person anymore. I laugh like I'm at a cocktail party, and I do this. I go fabulous, and then it cuts to David Blaine and Jeff Bezos, and Bezos is going fabulous. He's like, oh man, he's evil. He's like a bad guy from Austin Powers or something. You know.
Right,
Tommie, what are we going to do?
That's 2 hours, 10 minutes. We should probably
Jesus.
call it.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.